A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Washington calling Counterspy. Washington calling Counterspy. Washington calling Counterspy.
Harding, Counterspy calling Washington. Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington.
The Blue Network presents Phillips H. Lord's Counterspy. Backing our great Army and Navy at the front is our invisible army of United States counterspies who work quietly, effectively, and swiftly against the enemies in our midst. They are the dread of the German Gestapo, the Italian Obra, and the Japanese Black Dragons. Imagine the ace counterspy of them all as David Harding, specially appointed with authority to work however or wherever he will. 3 weeks ago, in Washington, a very prominent bachelor by the name of William R. Terrace stood in the center of his expensive apartment. The time, 11:25 at night. A dim light burned on a little ebony side table. Mr. Terrace stood there. His face was ashen white. Great beads of perspiration stood out on his forehead.
Go on. You've betrayed your country. Go on. Go on, pull the trigger, you coward. Go on.
Tell the editor to hold the press. William R. Terrace has just committed suicide in his living room. He left a note saying it was because of ill health.
It's a clear-cut case of suicide, Mr. Harding. You're the chief, and what you say goes, but it's just the case of a wealthy bachelor in poor health.
Well, I admit, Mark, William Terrace probably did commit suicide. But remember this. We're at war. The Gestapo are experts at making a murder appear to be a suicide.
Then you're really going to investigate it?
Well, I think I'll at least ask a few questions.
Yes, sir.
Now, the note Terrace left, Mark, said he was committing suicide because of ill health. I think I'll drop in on his doctor and see how bad his health really was. You would know, Doctor, if Mr. Terrace was in poor health.
I was shocked at his suicide, Mr. Harding. From everything I know, Mr. Terrace was in perfect health.
That's quite interesting. I think I'll go over to Mr. Terrace's bank and see if finances were worrying him.
No, Mr. Harding. Mr. Terrace's finances were in perfect condition. He was worth nearly $750,000. He had many government bonds and securities.
Mark, when a man commits suicide, and it isn't his health and it isn't finances,
Look for the woman.
Exactly. And that's what I want you to do, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Now pick 6 men. Cover Washington from head to foot. And find out what woman William Terrace paid special attention to. Yes?
Mr. Harding, I've just completed that investigation. Man in question was spotless, described as congenial, social, friendly, but never escorted any particular woman. Was known to be very proper and old-fashioned in ideals.
All right, Mark, that ends that lead. Meet me later. I'm going to take a long chance and visit the accounting firm which checked Terrace's books.
Why, yes, Mr. Harding. We've been the accountants for Mr. Terrace's firm for 9 years.
I want you to go to Mr. Terrace's office and get his office pad of appointments for the past year. Now, check that appointment list for lapses of time. Then check those dates against his personal checks and see what checks were made out during those periods of absences. This should tell us where Mr. Terrace was during those absences.
Mr. Harding, we went over Mr. Terrace's office pad and found he was absent from his business during the past year on 4 different occasions, a week at each time.
Good. Now, during those absences, did he make out any checks?
His first absence corresponds with a check he made out at the Saratoga Hotel, Saratoga Springs. During Mr. Terrace's second absence, he made out a check at the clubhouse, Pine Hill, South Carolina. This third check was made out at a clubhouse, Atlanta, Georgia.
Fine, thank you. Proceed.
This is G6, calling from Saratoga Springs. Man in question spent week here in company of woman. Dark complexion, about 31, expensively dressed, unusually attractive. Full report follows.
Fine. Proceed.
G8, reporting from Pine Hill, South Carolina. Man in question stayed here accompanied by unknown woman in early 30s. Most attractive, expensively gowned, dark. Report follows.
This is beginning to get very interesting, Mr. Harding.
Yet we may still be on a wild goose chase, Mark. We have no idea who that girl was. She may have been perfectly all right.
But how can we ever find her? She may be anywhere.
Well, here's a little something I dug up. April the 2nd, William Terrace made out a check to the Washington Jewelry Company for $8,000.
Say, that's a pretty sizable amount for a bachelor to be making out to send to a jewelry house.
That's what I thought, Mark. I'm going to check that jewelry house. I wonder just what William Terrace bought with that $8,000.
Mr. Terrace bought a solitaire diamond ring, 10 1/2 carats, platinum setting, a woman's ring. We have no record that he said whom he was buying it for. That is all.
Thank you. Well, Mark, now we know that Mr. Terrace bought a ring for some woman. But who is she? Where is she?
Oh, that's a tough question, Mr. Harding.
Well, let's put 2 and 2 together and try to make 5. Check all insurance companies, Mark.
Yes.
And see if within a few days after April the 2nd, any woman insured a ring for approximately $8,000.
Say, that's clever reasoning. You win, Harding. We're getting hot. Here's the insurance report. April 5th, the solitaire diamond ring, platinum setting, was insured for $8,000 by a Miss Avery Rollins of 1370 Lincoln Boulevard, Northwest, Washington.
Rollins. Avery Rollins. That name's very familiar.
She's high society, Mr. Harding. Lives with her uncle and aunt. I got a report on her. Age 32, height 5'5", light hair, light complexion, very social, educated at the Sorbonne, Paris, above reproach.
But the woman seen with William Terrace at the resort was dark hair. The weights are approximately the same, both apparently wealthy, both smart dressers. Mark, there's something wrong, something very wrong. It's a problem that's got to be approached from some unusual angle. Well, you have a very luxurious apartment here, Colonel Reynolds. Thank you, Mr. Harding. I'm pretty proud of it, especially this library den. I'm here to make a very unusual request, Colonel. As you may know, I'm a United States counterspy. Yes, I do. Now, Colonel, you knew William Terrace personally, didn't you?
Oh, yes. Was his suicide a bona fide suicide, Mr. Harding?
Well, to be perfectly frank, Colonel Reynolds, I don't know. That's why I've come to you. I need the aid of a citizen, Colonel, prominent, who has some government responsibility. You're 48?
That's correct.
A bachelor?
A confirmed one.
You're a very handsome man.
Oh, come now. Come.
Yes, and very fascinating to women.
Now, wait a minute, Harding.
Oh, this is very serious business. Now, you're chairman on the board for the new airplane formations and armor.
Yes?
That makes you a very interesting person to certain other persons. Colonel, do you happen to know a Miss Avery Rollins?
A very gorgeous woman, but I've never happened to meet her. She's usually surrounded by any number of admirers.
Well, I'm going to arrange for you to meet her, Colonel Reynolds. And I'm going to ask you to make yourself just as interesting to her as possible. In fact, I'm going to ask you to try and make it even a constant attachment for a time.
What? Oh, no, Harding, that's a little too much. I don't wish to get mixed up with women.
Now, Colonel Reynolds, you could be the principal factor in possibly exposing one of the most cunning spy rings in this country today.
You don't think Avery Rollins was in any way connected with Terrace's suicide? You don't think she's acting as a spy?
That's what I want to find out, Colonel.
Good Lord, Harding.
I've arranged with Lady Keston to give a formal ball next Friday evening. I've given her a list of guests she's to include. Miss Rollins will be one. And I'd appreciate your being another and casually meeting her.
Naturally, Rollins. Mr. Harding, under these circumstances, no man could refuse.
I thought you'd feel that way, sir. Now, after you meet her, please don't try to contact me in any way. Leave it up to me to find out what you're doing.
Three weeks later, March 23rd.
G6, the colonel boarded train at Washington. After an hour, was joined by a woman already on train. She is of dark complexion, expensively dressed, very attractive, black hair, height approximately 5'5". Ticket reads Palm Springs. That is all.
That's strange. That's not the description of Avery Rollins.
April 6th, 4:20 p.m. The colonel in question boarded train at Washington. Hour later, joined woman already on train. Dark complexion, expensively dressed, very beautiful and exotic. Weight, 110 pounds. Tickets read Atlanta, Georgia.
Who is meeting Colonel Reynolds on these trips? Is it Avery Rollins, or who is it? Come in. Oh, hello, Mark.
Hello, Mr. Harding. I just got the facts from that dark girl who's been meeting the colonel.
Good. What did you find out?
You were right, sir. After the girl got off the train with the colonel, I went to her compartment. There were unmistakable signs of dark-colored powder, blonde hair, and black hair which showed at the end of the hair, as if it had come out of a wig. Now, she must get on the train, get a compartment, and change her appearance before she comes out and meets the colonel.
And it is Avery Rollins, because she's been absent from Washington at the same time as the colonel has. She's probably explained to the colonel that because of their prominent standing in Washington, she must disguise herself.
Then, the way I see it, this Avery Rollins must have been the mysterious dark woman with whom William Terrace went off on trips before he was murdered.
Without a doubt. And she's connected with his murder in some manner. And I've got to make sure the colonel isn't killed the same way. She's off now down at Virginia Beach with him.
What a sunset, Avery.
Beautiful. I love to lie on the beach after all the others have gone in.
Look at those breakers on the sea.
John, sometimes I see a look come over your face. A look of pain. Anything troubling you?
No, dear. Nothing really.
Perhaps you're worrying about your responsibilities. Those new war plans or something.
No, I don't think I am.
Oh, I wish we didn't have to go back to Washington tomorrow.
We must, though. I've got some important conferences. Here, put these in your bag, will you, Avery? I'm afraid I'll lose them in the sand.
Oh, but why bring keys down to the beach?
I don't dare leave them in the hotel room. The flat one is the key to the secret cabinet in my library. It has the government plans we're drawing up.
Oh, no, John. Don't give me the keys. It's too big a responsibility.
Well, all right. I'll hide them next time under the rug at the hotel.
Oh, silly. Let's go in the water. Come on.
All right. I'll beat you to it.
Oh, you just try.
Oh, I was looking for you, Harding.
Well, hello, Colonel Reynolds. Glad to see you. Sit down. Now, I thought it might be better for us to meet openly at the hotel here rather than for me to go again to your apartment.
A good many things have happened since we last talked, Harding.
Yes. And you've proved yourself a veteran. A professional counterspy couldn't have done better.
Anything the matter, Harding?
Well, I think the big moment's here. It's now or never.
What shall I do?
Now, I'd like to have you invite Miss Rollins up to your apartment Tuesday night for a formal dinner. Just you two.
I'll try. You don't think, do you, Harding, Miss Rollins really is a spy?
Yes, Colonel. I do.
But I kept the key to my secret file where she could get it. Called her attention to it. Harding, tell me the truth. You don't think Miss Rollins was the girl who was with Terrace on those trips before he committed suicide?
Yes. His blood is on her hands, Colonel. And probably the blood of a dozen other men. Now, Tuesday night, after you've had dinner, I wish you'd go with her into your library den for coffee. But under no conditions, Colonel, drink the coffee. Now, I'll casually drop in a little later.
You intend to break her Tuesday night?
If I can. And I hope I can. What's the matter, Colonel? You're white as a sheet.
I'm all right.
What? Can I get you something?
No.
What is it, Colonel? You can tell me.
Harding, I love her.
You don't mean that.
Yes. Yes, I do mean it. I love her.
Good heavens, man, you can't.
But I do. I think she's innocent. She didn't try to copy the key. She's never tried to ask me questions about secret government affairs.
But she's a murderess, Colonel. Take my word for it, the blood of Terrace is on her. She'd double-cross you in a second.
I didn't realize how lonely I'd been. She's so clever, smart, beautiful, everything about her. I can't stand it.
You're not thinking of doing what William Terrace did?
No. No, not that. I guess I can see it through.
I'm sorry, Colonel. Terribly sorry.
I guess there's no more to be said.
You'll go through with it tomorrow night, as planned.
Yes.
Now remember, do not drink any coffee that's poured. I wish I could say something, Colonel Reynolds. I feel for you from the bottom of my heart. But this is bigger than you, or me.
I know. But still, I think she's innocent.
champagne, Avery?
Please, John.
That's a stunning evening gown. It blends right with your skin.
Oh, flattered.
Some more champagne for you, sir.
Yes. And Martin.
Yes, sir.
Miss Avery and I will have our brandy and coffee in the library tonight.
Yes, sir.
And I'd like to have you remain this evening.
Very good, sir.
Oh, by the way, Avery, did you ever know William R. Terrace?
Terrace? Wasn't he the man who committed suicide about 4 months ago?
Yes.
I've seen him, but I've never met him.
Oh. Awful thing, wasn't it?
I've heard some people say it wasn't suicide.
Yes, but you can't tell from rumors. Oh, like the silverware?
Oh, you caught me looking at it, John. Yes, I do like it. Everything about this place, it's so tasteful.
I had thought I was perfectly contented. But now it all seems so insignificant. To have something really worthwhile, you've got to have someone to share it with.
I found the same thing true, John. Closeness and comradeship mean more than anything.
Shall I have Martin serve the coffee and brandy in the library?
Yes, do I finish?
Let me help you.
But I'd rather sit on the divan with you.
Avery, you look like the most sophisticated woman in the world. Like one of those gorgeous paintings. And then you say something so tender.
Oh, but a woman should be a mystery to a man. Oh, there.
Avery.
I know.
But you don't know how much.
Yes, I do, John. My heart's pitter-pattering the same way. It has been ever since that last trip.
Do you love me, Avery?
Yes, John. Very deeply.
Avery.
Pardon me, sir, but Mr. Harding and his friend have called.
Yes. Yes, Martin, show them in.
Certainly.
Why did they have to come at just this moment?
Well, Harding's a very good friend. I guess he's just dropping in.
No, we were just on our way to the club. We thought we'd stop in, Colonel.
Hello, Harding. Glad to see you. Have you met Miss Rollins?
I don't believe I've had that privilege. Good evening, Miss Rollins.
Good evening, Mr. Harding.
Miss Rollins is a friend of mine, Mr. Mark.
Good evening, Mr. Mark.
It's a pleasure.
And Colonel Reynolds, Mark.
Good evening, Mr. Mark. Won't you join us in the brandy and coffee?
No, thank you. We've just finished dinner.
Sit down, gentlemen, and make yourselves comfortable.
Thank you.
Well, while you men chat, I think I'll go and freshen up a bit. We just finished dinner, a delicious dinner, Mr. Harding, but fried chicken, and you know what that does to the hands.
Well, I've always maintained the only real place to really enjoy fried chicken was in the bath.
Well, you men chat, and I'll be back in just a few moments, if you'll excuse me.
Harding, it's all right to talk in front of Mr. Mark?
Yes, Colonel. He's a counterspy in active service.
Harding, it can't be true. She's too decent. I'm going crazy.
Colonel Reynolds, I'm going to have to be brutal tonight. Ordinarily, I wouldn't operate this way. But I'm going to do everything I can to expose this right here in front of you. I believe I owe it to you.
Tell me, Harding, she's really one of your agents working with you. Tell me that you suspected me and really did this so she could check on me. Tell me that. Ease my mind.
The only way, Colonel, is to let this unfold. Now, would you ring for your butler, please?
Yes. Harding, is it the butler you're really after? Tell me it's he and not Avery, isn't it?
Colonel, I know how upset you are. I sympathize. But I can't change the facts. Now, don't say anything for a minute.
Did you ring for me, sir?
I believe the Colonel wanted you to pour some brandy for me.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
This is a gun in your stomach. Don't move.
Harding.
Quiet, please, Colonel. Cup his hands behind him, Mark. Tight.
I've got him. Then he's the man you're after, not Avery.
I believe he...
Martin.
There. Without his wig, he looks more natural, like his pictures. Your butler, Colonel Reynolds, is Herr Franz Bergman, one of the cleverest Austrian spies.
I am not him. I do not know whom you are talking about.
Colonel, when your butler was hurt by a car 6 weeks ago, you might be interested to know it was a plot. The man at the wheel of the car which ran down your butler was this man standing here. He wanted to pose as a butler so he could get in your house here. We've been checking on him for weeks. Here.
Drink the coffee you served the colonel. Drink it. Now, you don't like doped coffee, huh, Bergman?
Please, Harding, Avery is coming back.
I'll watch her when she comes in. I think she'll be pretty surprised.
There's something the matter in here. Well, is that your butler? His hair is...
Yes, Miss Rollins. We removed his wig.
Why?
Well, for the reason that he happens not to be a butler, but Herr Franz Bergman, a very noted Austrian spy.
Spy? He's a spy?
Yes. Quite a catch.
Oh, I'm so glad you caught him.
Mark, take Bergman over to the other side of the room.
Come on, Hitler, or I'll lead you by the nose.
Oh, John, you must feel terribly about this taking place in your apartment. Here, take this brandy. You look like a ghost.
Thank you. Thank you, Avery. Thanks. Now, Colonel Reynolds, I have a record I'd like to play for you. Would you mind my using your machine?
Why, no. No, the switch is right on the side of the radio.
It's just a short recording.
I feel a little dizzy. I guess I'll sit here by you, Avery.
Good. What kind of a record is it, Mr. Harding? What's the purpose of it?
Well, I believe that it'll be self-explanatory. It was made last night. There. The lines were spoken rather softly at the time, but I'll turn on the full volume so we won't miss anything.
Here. Quick, get the camera ready. Oh, I can't find anything but personal papers.
Oh, they must be there. The colonel told me himself. He kept them in the wall safe in his library.
Yes, all right, but if we don't find them, you'll just have to keep on playing him.
Oh, that old fool. I want to spit in his face every time I get near him. I can't stand to touch him.
Oh, the plans are not here. Yeah, he has tricked you.
But they must be there.
We have failed tonight. But he'll probably put them in here tomorrow night.
I hope tonight would be the last. Then I could break him and force him to commit suicide like terrorists. If he won't, we'll poison his coffee.
Not so quick.
Dog, it's vermin. I'll spit at you. I'll kill you.
Avery, do you know what you're saying?
You pig, you swine, let go of me.
Fortunately, Colonel Reynolds, the plans weren't there, but if they had been, you wouldn't be alive tonight. She'd have worked on you till she'd gotten you to commit suicide.
No, and I would have made him kill himself just like I made Terrence kill himself.
Shut up, you fool. Don't talk.
Yeah, she'd have told you she'd gotten the plans, that you'd be disgraced. She'd have broken your heart. You'd have done what all the other men have done she's worked on.
And I'd have laughed at the stupid dog.
Colonel, her real name is Marie Schmitz of Hungary, a paid spy. She goes to the biggest bidder. This woman is one of the cleverest, if not the cleverest, paid woman spy in this country. And that butler of yours, Franz Bergman, is her husband. Take them away, Mark. The other agents are out in the front hall.
Yes, sir. Come on now. Come on.
I'm sorry, Colonel, but I had to strip it all down before you, so you'd never have any doubt.
I didn't know. A person could be hurt quite this much.
You may have saved the lives, Colonel, of thousands of our boys.
I hope so.
Come over here by the window for a minute. Would you, Colonel?
Why couldn't she have been what I hoped she was?
Look at those Marines swing along. You've done them and the boys like them a great service, Colonel Reynolds. No one will probably ever know about it. But you will. And I will. Let's open the window. Doesn't that send a thrill through you?
It does. Yes. I'm glad I was able to help Harding. Every one of us has got to sacrifice. Some one way, some another. I guess this way is mine.
All over this country tonight is spread a great army of counterspies, men working to protect you and our boys at the front. Special agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, of the Secret Service, of the Treasury and State Departments, of the intelligence bureaus of the Army and the Navy. Men who are constantly on the alert, diligently protecting our home front. These men beg of you not to talk concerning troop movements, armaments, defense plants, and wartime plans. There are many leeches, enemy agents, just waiting to pounce on every little scrap of information so their experts can piece it together into a big, compact picture of our war efforts. Next Monday evening, Counterspy David Harding will be on the air. Tell your friends, invite them to listen in to these exciting dramatized cases portrayed weekly at this time. Counterspy is a Phillips H. Lord production which has originated from New York. This is the Blue Network. This is the Blue Network.
10 p.m. BULOVA, Bulova watch time. Men, here's exceptional value. A handsomely streamlined Bulova Alden, 15 joules, extremely dependable. Only $24.75. WEAF, New York.
Washington, calling Counterspy. Washington, calling Counterspy.
Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington. Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington.
The Blue Network presents Phillips H. Lord, Counterspy. Counterspy is dedicated to all government undercover men, that invisible army which protects our men on the fighting front and our industries and secrets on the home front. Imagine chief counterspy of them all as David Harding. One of the methods enemy spies have been using recently to enter the country is to try and fly over our borders at night and drop by parachute in some wild section of a border state. In old Mexico, way back in the sandy hills, is a ranch on which is a modern airplane. The ranch is about 90 miles south of Juarez and is well hidden in the hills. Tonight, a Gestapo agent has arrived at the Mexican ranch from where he'll be flown over the border and dropped into Texas. The airplane has been pushed out and is about to take off from the ranch.
You are ready to take off for the Texas border, Herr Borger?
Take the suitcase. Put it in the cockpit.
Senor Borger!
Yeah?
Senor Borger!
Yeah, what is it, Herr?
Do not go yet.
Why not?
A very unusual thing has just happened, senor.
Yeah.
No one ever comes this far from the main road, but at the ranch house has just arrived Councilor Carlos Costello.
Costello?
He is taking a long trip by horseback for his health, si, senor.
Make him leave. We do not want this place discovered.
Oh, but I have a very interesting thought.
So?
Suppose I tell him you are wealthy Americans down here with your plane. You are going to take a little ride under the moon in the sky. I invite him to go with you.
Yeah?
When you cross the border, you will fly very low. It will be very unfortunate that his feet and hands will be tied very tight. The door of the airplane will open. He will fall out. He will be killed. You will find him with his hands and feet tied and dead on American soil.
Aha. I see.
There will be quite a strain between the Mexican and the United States governments. A prominent government official murdered on American soil.
Yeah, hello. It is a good thought. Then they picked you to arm this ranch. They picked the right man.
You like my little idea, eh?
The Gestapo shall hear about this. You shall be rewarded.
Please, not by medals. I prefer my reward in money.
Go, hello. Invite the official to join us. Then we will see what happens. We are so glad you could take this little flight with us, Counselor.
Ah, so beautiful. I was never in an airplane at night. With the moon. It is so romantic.
You are aware, Counselor, we have crossed the border between Mexico and the United States?
No. Is it not against the law?
Oh, I am sure no one will object while we have such a distinguished gentleman of the Mexican government.
But what is the meaning of this?
Oh, you need a help, Walker. Yes, son. Tie his feet while I tie his hands.
Jawohl. Who are you? the Gestapo, if you would like to know. Why are you kidnapping me? They are going to open the door of the plane, and you are going to fall out. No, you cannot. You will be found on American soil, and a very delicate international situation should result. You are a fool. All my bones will be broken. They will know I was thrown from an airplane. The Gestapo is not so stupid. We will fly very low, so you will not be killed. But your body will not be mangled either. Drop as low as you can. Soon Mexico, like the United States, will belong to Germany. And you will be glad that you are dead. You pig! Laugh! Laugh! Now, Counselor, I shall open the door, and we will make ready for your big experiment. Dios omnipotente, guarda me. Libradme de estos hombres. What are you doing? Praying? You fool! I cannot fight. I'm tired. Therefore, I must pray. Pray? To whom? Fool. Superstitious. Jesús Santísimo, guarda mi alma. En ti es mi salvación. I will not hear such dribble. There are no enough hands. Here. Why do you have a crayon in your hands? Give me that. Leave, senor. Give me a chance to leave. Now I shall push you through the door. Scream. Holla, go on. He falls. So. That's it. Put the plane back on the course.
Hello? Hello?
Proceed.
This is Harding speaking. I'm in the testing laboratory of the Walker Optical Company. In an hour, I shall take a plane for Washington. Set up my appointment for me at 3 o'clock with Colonel Marvin. Tell him emergency.
Yes, sir.
You wish me to continue, Mr. Harding?
Yes, Mr. Walker. And this is a grave emergency. Now, those light bulbs you have lined up over there, are they lit now?
Yes. But naturally, as they are high-frequency lights, you cannot see them with your naked eye.
Oh, I see.
You cannot see the light, Mr. Harding, unless you are wearing this green hypie lens in your glasses. This is a 5-3-1.
Oh.
Now, look through it.
All right. Yes. I can see the left light's burning, but I can't tell whether the one on the right is burning or not.
Well, you would need another specially colored lens to see that one.
Oh.
In other words, Mr. Harding, these high-frequency lights can be burning, but you cannot see them unless you are wearing specially prepared lenses.
Mm. Well, Mr. Walker, as I explained to you, this is a case of great emergency. It involves an international incident with Mexico.
I see.
How soon could you make me 12 pairs of each of these two different lenses?
I believe by 8 in the morning, Mr. Harding.
Good. I'll have a Navy plane waiting off Pier 3 and a government car here to deliver them to the plane at 8 sharp in the morning. Right now, I'm going to fly to Washington.
What can I do for you, Mr. Harding?
Well, Colonel Marvin, we've known for some time that certain Gestapo agents have been getting into this country by flying over the border from a ranch in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they're landing in a deserted section of Texas, where they usually stay for several days before leaving for different parts of the United States.
In other words, you've allowed them to enter this way because you know how they're entering. And that's better than stopping this route and forcing them to find some other method, which may take you months to discover. Is that it?
Exactly, Colonel.
Harding, you know we'll do anything possible to help you.
Now, Colonel, tomorrow night I'd like to have about 8 Army planes from Field A-46 fly all over the state of Texas and into Louisiana. Now, I'll be at field headquarters in Texas with a map to get their reports.
What information are you looking for, Harding?
Well, now, one house which we recently raided had up the chimney a high-frequency light. Now, that light can't be seen at night when you're flying over the house unless you have a certain colored lens in your glasses.
Mm-hmm.
I feel sure that there are a certain few houses for, let's say, 200 miles in Texas which have these lights hidden up the chimney.
I see.
Now, the pilot who's flying these foreign agents in wears these special colored glasses. He can see these high-frequency lights placed in the chimneys, and these help keep him on his course.
And you want to locate every house which has such a light, huh?
Yes, and it's vital.
I'll have a plane ready to leave in 2 hours, Harding, and I'll fly down with you to see that you have everything you need.
Thank you, sir.
Now, Colonel, if we can have the houses which have these invisible lights spotted from the air, we'll know the exact route the plane's flying, which brings in these spies. Right to the ranch where they land and stay for a few days. When that time comes, we'll be able to make a mass raid.
I see. Yes. But, Harding, what are we doing about that prominent Mexican official found tied and murdered on American soil? Now, that's a very embarrassing situation.
Well, Colonel, there's something about that murder that I can't tell as yet. I want to check certain additional facts before I speak.
All right, Harding. You're doing a wonderful job, and I'll see that 8 Army planes will be flying over the designated section of Texas tomorrow night.
Thank you, sir.
Just look at this chart, Mr. Harding. That last report mentioned this house. Southwest, square 411.
Let me have that other chart, Kelly.
Yes, sir.
Yes, notice how this route's beginning to shape up.
42P calling. 42P calling 4X.
Come in.
I'm flying over Sandville. Check your chart. Chart square TS4. Chart square TS4.
Here's the square he's talking about, Kelly, this square.
Northeast beam, intersection, main highway, 2 miles from corner. Can you locate on your chart?
Yes. This house right here.
42P. We have located it.
42P, signing off.
I've got that marked. Your signal light's on, Kelly, the upper frequency.
Yes, sir.
42R, Holly. 42R, Holly.
Come in, 42R. Come in, 42R.
Chart square, 6, TS6. Northeast corner, intersection, military highway. House in fork of road.
I've got that one, too. It's right here.
Cross check with field light. Southeast, due west. That's all. 42R signing off.
Kelly, these houses being spotted are on a perfectly straight line from the border right to the ranch we've been suspecting. Now, tomorrow night, we'll fly this route, check all of the houses we're marking, and go right to their landing field. Now, bring a short wave set along with you in your suitcase.
We've seen every light the pilots reported last night, Mr. Harding.
As we should spot that ranch and their landing field most any minute.
Yes, sir.
Kelly, I'm going to tell you something that nobody else knows.
Yes. It sounds plenty serious, Mr. Harding.
You know that high Mexican official found murdered on American soil?
Yes, sir.
Well, he was murdered by members of this spy ring we're after right now.
You mean they got him in Mexico, flew him over the border, and dropped him from a plane?
Yes. But that isn't all. It wasn't the body of a high Mexican official.
But his papers. He was identified.
I did the identifying.
Oh. And who was it?
It was one of our own counterspies, Kelly. Tado Zales.
Tado?
Yes. I was working with the Mexican authorities. We suspected this Mexican ranch, so the Mexican consular was taken into our confidence. He went into hiding for a few days. And Tado, posing as the consular, visited the ranch. But he was evidently surprised by them and dropped out of a plane.
Good Lord. But how do you know he was dropped from a plane, Mr. Hart?
The old trick. On the scuttle, he got a pencil from his vest and hid it in the palm of his hand. While his hands were tied together, he was able to write on the palm of one hand the word air.
There's the landing field, Mr. Harding.
Yes, there's the large ranch house and the 2 barns.
It's barren, all right. Tado. Murder.
We'll land, and I'll have the pilot take off immediately. Oh, Lieutenant, land as far from the house as you can. We'll hide the suitcase with a short wave set out in the field. Perhaps they won't hear us land. We can get to the house before they know we're here.
What do you want? Who are you?
BR2. We want to stay a couple of days. My name's Mr. David. This is Mr. Kelly.
Where did you come from?
Hacienda Pedro, over the border. We've been traveling a long time. We want to rest a day and then go on.
Yes. I have a room for you. You can have food here, too.
Yeah. Are you empty now, or do you have any more guests?
We have an Italian and a Japanese. I did not want to take him in, but we are under orders.
And your husband?
He is out in the barn. You will meet him when he comes in.
Is the Japanese of the Black Dragons?
Yes.
And the Italian of the Ovra?
Yes.
Heil Hitler.
Heil Hitler.
Now, I ask, for one must be most careful in our work, do you expect any more guests tonight?
Not for several days. You wish to go up to your room now?
Just to clean up. Then I think I'll take a walk around and get a look at things.
After you have washed, you will find my husband in the barn. You will again identify yourself to him.
Calling 42B. Calling 42B. Calling 42B.
Come in.
Calling from field at location specified. Locate for me immediately. German couple, about 60. Want couple opposed to Nazi rule. Check my file numbers for names of couples already examined. Fly this couple to our present location. 11:30 tomorrow night. Check.
Report sufficient. 42B off.
That is all. All right, Kelly. Close the case. Slip it under the bushes again.
Yes, sir. That Nazi woman in there was a brutal-looking character.
Now, let's get right back to the house. I don't want them to notice that we've been gone too long.
What did you think of her husband?
I'll answer that a little later. If I'm not mistaken, I've got a complete report on him in Washington.
A fanatic, isn't he?
Aren't they all? Would they be Nazis if they weren't?
Well, if you weren't in on the inside of things, though, you could stop at the ranch and not guess anything was wrong.
Oh, yes, they're clever.
What was that?
Quick, get back to the house. What's the matter? What's going on?
Where is everybody?
I heard footsteps upstairs. Let's get up there. Where are you?
What do you want?
Oh.
I was in my room at the other end of the house. I heard a scream from this room. I come running.
This Italian and I got here just at the same time.
I was at the other end of the house, in my room.
You'd better fix your collar. Looks like someone had grabbed it and torn the button off.
Here comes my husband. He will be very angry.
Where were you, may I ask, when this happened? And the other gentleman?
We were walking toward the house. We heard the scream. We ran in here as quickly as possible.
Very pleasant alibi.
What has happened? Why did one of you scream like that? Why are you all standing there looking at... Oh, I see.
He was evidently stabbed in the back while he was sleeping.
I am not angry because the Japanese is killed. I hate them. But he should have been killed somewhere else. Who did it?
None of us seems to know.
Did you?
I was at the other end of the house, in my room.
And you?
I would not have done it inside the house, you know that.
You too?
No. Oh, we were outside, walking toward the house.
You left me 20 minutes ago. Where have you been since? Why did you not come right back to the house?
Because we were all cramped up from traveling. We wanted to stretch our legs, take a little walk.
So. There are so many ways it could have been done to leave no telltale. The river out of a plane.
Yes, like possibly you would do with a Mexican.
Why do you say that?
Hello told me of it. The Hacienda Pedro in Mexico. They all thought it very clever.
Man, Hello talks too much. Here. Let me get him up on my shoulder. I will take him out and bury him in the field.
Gladly.
There. Come with me. We will bury him to leave no traces.
I will go with you and hold a lantern. Do you two wish to come?
Not interested, thank you. Kelly, will you do me one favor?
What, sir?
Kick me just as hard as you can.
Why?
Well, the minute I saw that Jap had been murdered, by habit and instinct, I started to ask questions. I knew the Italian had killed him. And all I'd have had to do was ask about 3 more pointed questions, and there'd have been plenty of trouble.
Come to think of it, you're right. You didn't think the woman killed the Jap spy?
I think they were all in on it. It was planned before we got here.
But that teaser you put out, Mr. Harding, you got results, didn't you?
Yes, he fell for it. He's the one who thought Zollish was a Mexican official and threw him out of the plane.
What's our next move?
Just sit tight until the Army plane arrives at 11:30 tomorrow night.
Mr. Harding, that's the Army plane, all right.
Yeah.
Take these glasses. It's signaling with the invisible light. Just to the right of the moon, see?
Yeah, good. Good. Now we've got to work fast while the plane's landing. The German couple and the Italian are in the sitting room. Let's go in.
And you will leave? I will be leaving in the morning. I've already American money, which I will supply with.
If you two gentlemen don't mind my intruding, and if it's all right with you, madam, I'm going to have to ask you all to get your hands up. Don't move. We both have you covered. You won't have to do much persuading for me to put a bullet right through you.
Signor, vi prego. Per carità, io non sono nemico. Per l'amore di Dio. You whimpering fool.
We don't operate like your Gestapo, Burger. We give them a chance according to our laws.
Why do you call me Burger? That is not my name.
It's the name I have you listed by in Washington. You forget your activities in the Boone before the war broke out. And incidentally, the Mexican government official you threw from the plane wasn't the Mexican consular.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He was an American counterspy, one of my assistants, posing as a consular. I'll promise you, Burger, you're going to pay for that, and pay plenty.
Senor, I'll give you money. I'll tell you all I know.
Enough of this. An Army plane's just landed outside. Now march out that door to the plane. And keep your hands up.
Mr. Harding, that's a sweet old couple the plane brought down.
Yeah. Motherly looking soul, isn't she?
You wouldn't think that this couple who just arrived and the other couple who we took out to the plane were both German.
Well, there's some Germans who are not Nazis. Well, I'll let them finish looking around the house, and we'll leave in the Army plane with those others we're taking with us.
Well, I believe we have seen it all, Mr. Harding.
It is quite a place. Now, do you two feel that you can live here and pretend to be Nazis? And run this place for the spies who come over?
Yeah, Mama is a great actress when she needs to be.
And so is Papa. I will run the house, and he will look after the outside and the little radio station to send you the information.
Good. Now, as soon as the spy arrives, we shall want his complete description. Something that he's touched so we can get his fingerprints. Knowledge of where he's going, and any information about what he has in his bag.
We shall see you have it all, eh, Papa?
We shall do everything. We shall give our lives to see the Nazis crushed and wiped off the face of this earth.
You two must have had a terrible experience from the report.
We lived just outside of Hamburg. We were happy. And our 2 boys had graduated and were the ministers of the German Lutheran Church. It was in the middle of the night.
Papa.
The Gestapo broke in the front door and dragged our 2 boys out of bed. Then they came and got Mama and me.
You forgot.
They beat our boys because they were ministers of the church. They dragged them outside.
They tied our boys to the fence. They made us watch.
The Gestapo stepped back and took aim and shot them. Our youngest boy, Hans, he did not die. So the leader of the Gestapo put a pistol to his head, spit at him, and fired. The leader of the Gestapo tore off the crucifix that Hans wore around his neck. He threw it on the ground, stepped on it. Then he raised his arm at the Nazi salute and said, Heil Hitler, the Führer will rule the world. We left Germany, Mama and me. It took us 4 months to escape across the border, but we did it. Now we are in this country. God bless it.
And you know what it means to have the Nazis rule. Wait, I hear footsteps. Somebody's coming. Careful now, there may be trouble.
Yeah? Come in.
I'm a traveler, X4 from Mexico, on the Hacienda Pedro.
You have arrived at the right place, X4.
Good. Our plane was forced down. I have had to come the last 100 miles by motorcycle. Hi, Hitler. The Führer will rule the world.
The Führer will rule the world. I remember. I shall show you to your room.
Who are these men?
We don't ask questions like that around here.
Yes, you are right. Take my bag.
Yeah. Mama, bring a light from the mantel. We will show this gentleman to his room.
Yeah, Papa?
This way, please.
I don't think, Kelly, that we're needed here anymore.
No.
Let's go to the plane.
Look how bright the stars are tonight, Mr. Hart.
Yes, Kelly. Now, they're one of the things in this world that are permanent. Permanent like the faith of Christian people. You know, at the time of the Crusaders, barbarians tried to crush faith from the face of the earth. But the Christians rose up and pushed those hordes right back into the sea. Well, the great Christian army has risen again, and Nazism will be wiped from the face of the earth.
Spread a great army of counterspies, men whose names may never be known or their deeds ever revealed. But 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, these counterspies are the guardians of our home front. Counterspy will not be heard next week, June 29th. Starting Monday night, July 6th, Counterspy, a Philip H. Lord production, will be presented at a much more convenient time. 8 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Wartime, 7 to 7:30 p.m. Central Time, 6 to 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 to 5:30 p.m. in the Pacific Time Zone. Tell your friends. Invite them to listen to these exciting dramatized cases. Make it a date for Monday, July 6th. At the new hour. Join the 10% Club, whose membership is composed of all patriotic Americans who are voluntarily putting 10% of their incomes regularly into war bonds and stamps. Here's all you have to do to become a member. Arrange to buy war bonds on a regular basis to the extent of 10% or more of your present income. Or authorize your employer to deduct 10% or more from your regular salary or wage check. Your government is making special efforts to have everyone a member of the 10% Club. Join today. Counterspy originated in New York. You are listening to the Blue Network.
Washington, calling Counterspy. Washington, calling Counterspy.
Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington. Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington.
The Blue Network presents Philip H. Lord's Counterspy. Germany has its Gestapo, Italy its Obra, and Japan its Black Dragon. But matched against all of these secret enemy agents are Uncle Sam's highly trained counterspies. Visualize ace counterspy of them all as David Harding. In Washington, Brigadier General Whitcomb sat in his private office at a large oak desk. Standing in front of him was First Lieutenant John O'Brien.
Lieutenant O'Brien.
Yes, sir?
I have another mission for you. A most important mission.
Yes, General?
Let's see. You've been my official messenger for 7 years, correct?
9 years, sir.
9 years. Well, Lieutenant, you've been most methodical, resourceful, and diligent.
Thank you, sir.
Now, this envelope contains certain very important documents. They concern changing some of our heavy artillery on the West Coast. Carry it inside your uniform. Now, I want you to deliver these to the commander of the San Francisco fortifications. Deliver them right into his own hands and to no other living person.
Yes, sir. Shall I fly, sir?
No, I don't want to call attention to your mission in any way. Just quietly get on the train, as though you were carrying nothing of any importance. There's a transcontinental train tonight at 10 o'clock, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir, there is. All I've got to do is go back to my hotel room and cancel several engagements I had, sir. Hello? Hello? Oh. This is Lieutenant O'Brien calling. No, I can't take you to the theater tonight. No, I'm not fooling. Oh, a new dress? Honestly, I'm awfully sorry, but I've just received instructions to leave for San Francisco. Yes, San Francisco. Well, I'll be back in about a week, and then I'll see you every night.
Tickets, please.
Oh. Hey, conductor.
Oh, going to San Francisco, Lieutenant. Don't you want a berth in the sleeper? Got several vacancies.
No, thank you. I guess I'll sit up.
San Francisco's a long way to ride in the day coach.
No, I'm used to it. Is the storm delaying us much?
Well, let's see. It's after midnight. Well, we're about half an hour late.
Thank you.
Well, Lieutenant, I hope you don't get...
Why'd they go out? It may have something to do with the storm, madam.
I'm afraid. It's so dark.
Who are you?
Take your hands off me. Oh.
happened, madam?
We heard the fight. A glass of breaking.
Where?
About 3 or 4 seats in front of me. Turn your flashlight up there.
We can't get the lights on. Somebody's cut the wires.
Right there. See?
Why, the glass is broken out. And blood.
Oh, that's where the army officer was sitting.
He must have been thrown out the window. Hold on, everybody. I'm going to pull the emergency.
Calling in. G8. Calling in. Mr. Harding.
This is Harding. Go ahead.
We located place by tracks where Lieutenant O'Brien's body landed. There was a great deal of blood. We traced footprints from there 100 yards to the main road. Somebody had a car parked there. There were some tread marks of car in dirt beside road.
Are you making plaster casts of footprints in the car tread?
Yes, sir. They'll be ready by morning, sir.
Good. Stand by for further instructions.
Throwing O'Brien off that train was certainly a carefully planned job, Mr. Harding.
Yes, Davis, it was no ordinary job. The only ones who knew about those plans being sent were the higher-ups. I made every move Lieutenant O'Brien made checked carefully. This job has all the earmarks of a high-class, sophisticated plot. Davis, I want somebody to do some special work for me who travels in high Washington circles.
Couldn't we get one of our own operators into that circle?
We could. But I want somebody already there, some prominent person who wouldn't be suspected of working with us. I'm going to talk to Lady Ashton.
She's helped you before.
She's a social leader, and she can be trusted. Lady Ashton, I need a woman who's fairly young, beautiful, sophisticated, worldly, who travels in Washington's higher social set.
I see. Have you anyone specially in mind, Mr. Hardy?
Yes. Norma Brayley. She's a French refugee. She's invited everywhere. She's continental.
And very beautiful. You're sure this is all business, Mr. Harding?
She is attractive. But if Miss Brayley would be willing to work with me and follow my instructions, she could be of great help.
And you wish me to give a dinner so that you may meet her?
Well, in Washington here, Lady Ashton, I'm often watched very carefully. I'd like to have the meeting appear to be a chance one.
How about dinner Friday? I'll see that you meet Miss Brayley socially then.
That'd be fine, Lady Ashton. I'll be there.
Yes, but you must have some opinions on how the war is going, Mr. Harding.
I know how it's going to go, Miss Brayley. Shall we walk over to the other side of the room for a minute?
Yes, certainly. You know, I think Lady Ashton gives the most entertaining evenings of any hostess in Washington.
She's a very charming person. Miss Brayley.
Yes?
I don't want to be seen talking to you too long, so I'll come right to the point.
Oh, you sound very serious, Mr. Harding.
You're a French refugee, Miss Brayley. You fled Paris just before it fell. Your entire family is still there.
Well, how did you know that?
More people are investigated nowadays than they think. Miss Brayley.
Yes?
Would you take some risks if you thought you really could be of help against our mutual enemy?
Oh, I'd do anything in the world. Everything is a risk nowadays.
I need someone who travels in Washington's best society. I need someone who's never been connected with counterspying in any way. Someone of courage, insight, sophistication.
You mean me?
Yes. We're on a very hard and difficult case right now. I need someone just like you. In fact, you.
But I don't think I'm qualified for such an important undertaking, Mr. Harding. I've never had any training.
You won't need any, Miss Braley. You'll do exactly as I tell you.
And you really think I can help?
Very definitely.
Then I'll do anything you ask. It's the least I can do.
You will be in danger. The ring I refer to has just murdered one Army officer.
I'm not easily frightened, Mr. Harding. I went through a good deal before I escaped to the United States.
Then it's agreed. Now, I believe something very important is going to break later tonight. Now, any calls I make to you must be made in such a way that they can't be traced. Now, tomorrow morning at 10:30, go to the Farnsworth Drugstore on Maple Street.
Yes.
There are 3 telephone booths there. Go into the middle booth. Make several telephone calls so you can hold the booth, so no one else will be using the phone. Now, hang up the receiver at exactly 11:30. Now, I have that phone number. I'll do the same thing on the other end of town so that my call to you will be from one telephone booth to another, so the call can't be traced.
I'll be there, Mr. Harding, right to the second.
And be sure and don't call me by name over the phone.
Hello?
Who are you?
I'm in a telephone booth by appointment for a call at exactly 11:30.
Good. Now listen carefully. That's Sir Harold Palmer. Arrived late last night in Washington from Ontario, Canada. We've been watching him up there for over 3 months. He's not really of the nobility. We believe his credentials are false, but we've not been able to make sure.
Yes?
Now, this is the first time that Sir Harold has left Canada. And it's so close to that event which happened on a train 4 nights ago, we believe there may be some connection. Now, I've arranged for Lady Action to give a ball on this coming Wednesday evening. Somehow it will be arranged so Sir Harold will be there. I want you to meet Sir Harold Palmer at that ball. Lady Action will introduce you to him. Flatter him. Get to know him.
I'll do my best.
You have a small automatic, one you can carry in your purse?
Yes.
Keep it with you at all times. That's all for now.
Sir Harold, we're so delighted you came this evening.
It's very kind of you to invite me, Lady Ashton. I just come down from Canada. I'm really quite a stranger in Washington.
Sir Harold, I want you to meet a guest of mine, Miss Bailey.
Oh. How do you do, Miss Bailey?
Good evening, Sir Harold.
I've been admiring Miss Bailey all evening, hoping I might have the opportunity of meeting her.
There, Norma. Men gave up saying things like that to me years ago.
Oh, no, they didn't, Lady Ashton.
Will you dance this one with me, Miss Bailey?
I'd love to, Sir Harold. I've been admiring your dancing.
Question and lady has spent the evening at the theater, later attended Crescent Club, and he has just now taken her home. Place operator 7 is made on his floor at hotel. That is all. G8 reporting. Gentleman in question and lady went for a drive out of Washington. Stopped at Mayflower Club on Highway 3 for dinner and dancing. Have just returned to Washington. If gentlemen orders theater tickets for play opening Friday, she gets 2 A seats in 4th row, center aisle. That is all. G8 reporting. Operator 6 followed couple in question this morning. She went shopping, and he accompanied her.
overheard conversation indicating they are planning to meet this evening in his hotel room.
Check.
You know, Sir Harold, it is rather unusual in this country for a young woman to go up to the hotel room with a man, unless they're engaged or something.
Is that so? Very interesting. Well, continuing, we had in our home for many years what I should call as fine a collection of pastoral art as there is outside of a museum. We very seldom went out of an evening. The paintings were so beautiful, landscaping of all kinds.
Yes, I see.
Am I boring you with this long dissertation on art, Miss?
It was just a question.
Did you yawn?
Oh, no, certainly not. Continue. Tell me more about these oil paintings in Dorchester.
You shouldn't have come here. Well, come in.
I'm sorry, Mr. Harding, but I didn't know what to do.
I know, but it's 2 o'clock in the morning, Norma. Come up to my hotel room and put those who might be watching me wise to the fact that you're working with me.
But something terribly important has happened, Mr. Harding.
What?
Well, Sir Harold kept talking and talking about art so late that I asked him to order some food. And when he went into the adjoining room to telephone room service, I had a chance to look in several drawers, and I found these papers.
Let me see them.
I had this little gun with me in my bag, but, well, no woman would ever have to show it to Sir Harold. Here.
Have you looked at these?
Yes, they're reports. And they state very clearly they concern confidential information between the United States and Canada.
Yes. And this one even goes so far as to mention certain fortifications.
Well, then it's the information you want?
Not the exact information, but it very definitely shows Sir Harold is working against the interests of the United States and Canada. But you should not have come here, Norma. In fact, you shouldn't have taken these papers.
Yes, but why? Now you've got proof against Sir Harold.
Yes, but he'll miss these papers, and he'll know you've tricked him and disappear.
Oh, then I haven't helped.
Oh, yes, you've helped.
Do you suppose that's someone who saw me come up here to your room? Have I caused you more trouble?
Unless I miss my guess, this is a report that Sir Harold has already left. Hello?
G8 reporting. Sir Harold has checked out of hotel. Has ordered car from nearest garage. Shall I replace chauffeur?
No. Too dangerous at this point. Drop his trail. Tell operator 37 to pick it up.
Yes, sir.
I never felt so badly in my life, Mr. Harding. I feel that I've bungled the whole thing.
Now, don't feel that way, Norma. You've just accomplished so much more than I expected. I wasn't ready for it.
You're not just saying that.
No. I mean it.
Oh. I'd rather hear you say something like that than anyone else.
Now, of course, the artillery plans which were stolen from Lieutenant O'Brien have already been changed. A new set of plans is being sent to California Saturday night by plane. We'll wait and see if the Gestapo makes an attempt to get those new plans Saturday night.
I see. But what can I do, Mr. Harding?
Now, tomorrow night, dress very simply.
Yes.
Take the bus, the Maryland bus, to the end of the line. Get off there and wait for me. Things have taken a pretty serious turn. Tomorrow night should tell us a lot.
Mr. Harding, can you tell me now where we're going?
To a little farmhouse about 10 miles further down the road.
Well, why are we going there?
We have a shortwave listening set there. There's nothing near the farmhouse. The reception's excellent.
And you still think I can be of help?
Very definitely.
Good.
But I can't tell how until we hear this shortwave broadcast tonight. See, every Tuesday and Saturday night, from 1:15 to 1:30 in the morning, there's a shortwave broadcast by a bootleg station to Germany. We've been listening in on it for several weeks.
But who's doing the broadcasting?
Gestapo agents. In fact, we'll both listen in tonight.
Oh, I've never seen so much electrical equipment, Mr. Harding.
Now, you sit down here beside me, Norma. Now, take these earphones. I'm calling another shortwave station of our own. One of my men's operating it. 42B. 42B. Come in on 24.5 megacycles. Come in.
Your signal is weak, but I can get it. Come in.
Proceed according to schedule. That will be 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Then meet me at appointment. You get it?
Exactly 3 minutes, 10 seconds, and we'll contact.
That is all.
Was that a shortwave station in another farmhouse?
No. It was a portable sending and receiving set in a car. That's why it didn't have too much power.
Oh.
Now, you don't understand German, do you, Norma?
No, I don't.
Then I'll interpret for you. Broadcast we should be picking up right now. Now, take these earphones. He's making contact. You'll hear him in a minute.
And this radio station we're hearing is operating illegally in direct contact with Berlin?
Yes. But we've got it spotted.
Auf Welle 24.500 nach Berlin. Achtung! Geheimbericht von größter Wichtigkeit.
He's just saying he's got some real news tonight.
Auf Welle 24.500 nach Berlin. Die Pläne zur Befestigungsanlagen der nordamerikanischen Westküstenverteidigung sind plangemäß gestohlen worden.
He's talking about the West Coast fortification papers that were stolen from us.
Leichtigkeit überwunden. Die beiliegenden Dokumente sind in unserem Besitz.
Telling Berlin that the Gestapo have the papers, but the question is how to get them out of the country.
Die Überseesendungen sind schärfstens überwacht. Revidierte Pläne werden Sonnabend an die Westküste per Flugzeug gesandt.
Now he's saying revised plans are to be sent to the West Coast this Saturday night.
Das Problem ist, die Pläne aus dem Lande zu schleppen.
Get those hands up, quick!
Who are you? Get out of here!
You make a move, I'll shoot. We're United States Counterspies. Now get your hands up. Move away from that broadcasting microphone.
They're being captured.
But this is just an amateur sending set.
Oh, yeah? Put the cuffs on him, Frank. We've already got the cuffs on your 3 pals, the 2 downstairs and 1 in the other room. Take them out, boys. Remember, these 4 are the ones who murdered Lieutenant O'Brien. This shortwave set won't be used anymore tonight or any other night.
Well, Norma, you really heard something that time.
They were really captured by your men?
They certainly were. Right now, they're being taken away so fast they don't know what's happening.
Yes, but how did it happen just right then?
That was the message I sent out the first thing I came into this room. We had everything set. Come on. I want to drive back and face them.
Where are we going now, Dave?
We've got a place where we hide people like them away for a while.
A prison?
Well, sort of a private prison with their steel bars and escape-proof devices. That's what you mean. After that, it's the firing squad. All these people in these cells, Norma, are agents of the Gestapo or the Japanese Black Dragon. Let's go into this cell now. Wait.
Oh, it's horrible. These prisoners just look at us. You can see in their eyes. They know they're going to be shot.
Oh, guard. Yes, sir? Check and see if it's Sir Harold Palmer has been brought in yet. If he has, bring him to this cell.
All right, sir.
Here. Sit down in this cot, Norma. We may have quite a little wait.
Dave, how did you catch Sir Harold?
We'll let him do the talking when he gets here. Norma, let me tell you something. Because something very startling is about to happen. Lieutenant John O'Brien was a confidential messenger for the Army. On his last mission, he was murdered in a train while the lights were out. The window was broken, and his body thrown out.
I'll be in just a minute, Mr. Harding.
Oh, good. Well, Norma, we checked O'Brien's movements. Everything he did after he received those confidential instructions. O'Brien went back to his hotel room, and the only thing he did besides packing was to put in 5 telephone calls. 3 were calls to the Army Department, 1 was a call to his mother, and 1 was a call to a girl. We traced that call. It showed in the hotel records. We immediately started investigating that girl, and it gradually showed up that her background wasn't quite what she claimed it to be. In other words, she'd found out that Lieutenant O'Brien was a trusted government messenger. She'd become acquainted with him and started seeing a good deal of him. And when he telephoned her on this certain night and said he was going to San Francisco, she knew it must be on important business. And as he was a confidential government messenger, she knew he'd probably have the papers with him. So she passed the word on, gave orders for the 2 men to board the train, and after a little while cut the electric light wires in that car, murder O'Brien, throw his body off at a certain prearranged time. 2 other men in an automobile were waiting and carried his body away because they were afraid he might have important papers on his person.
Well, were those men who were running the shortwave station the ones who murdered Lieutenant O'Brien?
Yes. But they received their instructions from the woman to do it. The woman was the real murderer.
Did you send for me, sir?
Yes. I believe you know Miss Braley.
Oh, yes, I've had that privilege.
Sir Harold Palmer.
That's right. Sir Harold to you, Miss Braley. But a counterspy to me, George Davis.
He's a counterspy? Well, he's the Canadian you sent me to watch. He's the one I stole the papers from.
And a very good job of stealing them you did, too. Miss Braley, you are under arrest by the United States government.
Oh, no. No, I'll kill you. I'll kill myself.
Take it away from her, Davis. While you were stealing the papers, Davis here was putting blank cartridges in the gun you had in your handbag. Killing comes pretty easy to you, doesn't it?
You rat, you swine.
I wasn't absolutely positive that you were the woman, Miss Braley, till we heard that broadcast tonight, and your spies passed on word about the revised fortification papers being sent to the coast Saturday night. Then I knew that you were the one we wanted, because that was just a made-up story, and you and I were the only 2 in the whole world who knew it.
What are you going to do with me?
You're very unobserving. You should have noticed that this is the woman's section. And half an hour before we arrived, this very cell was reserved for you. This is the place that you're going to stay. Come on, David.
Oh, you can't do this to me. You can't do it. I'm a French refugee. Do you understand? I'm a French refugee.
You're a French refugee right from Berlin. You never saw France in your life. We checked your family. They live on Konnektenstrasse, Hamburg.
No, you can't, you rat, you swiner. American is a swiner.
He's about the most vicious spy we've taken in since the war started, Harding.
I have a feeling she's responsible for a lot of important information leaking out, Davis. But one thing's certain. He won't get out.
Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington. Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington.
The Blue Network presents Philip H. Lord's Counterspy. A counterspy is a United States undercover agent whose duty it is to smash the professional enemy spies operating in our midst. Imagine ace counterspy of them all as David Harding.
Those are the footsteps of Liza Gott as she walks along the narrow, rocky path which runs on top of a high cliff, looking out over the sea on the northern coast of Maine. 42 years ago, Liza Gott married. Mark Gott, her husband, sailed away and was drowned. For 41 years, Liza Gott has kept a little kerosene lantern lit on her front porch. So just in case Mark should return, he'd see the lighted lantern from the sea and know she was waiting.
Well.
Liza Gott is nearing her little house on the top of the cliff where she stays alone. Liza sees something on her front porch. She can see it by the light of the lantern.
That's funny. I didn't leave nothing on the front porch. It looks like a man. It is a man. What are you doing on my front porch?
Oh.
Wake up.
Oh.
I said, what you doing lying on my front porch?
Oh, I was just lying here. I'm exhausted. Guess I fell asleep.
You're a stranger.
Yes. I've had a narrow escape. I landed here in a lifeboat. Saw your lantern lit, so I came up here. When I found nobody was in, I was too tired to go anywhere else.
What happened to you?
I was in a small Norwegian lumber schooner. There were 5 of us. Just off the Horseshoe Reefs, we were torpedoed. I got the lifeboat over alone. The others were killed in the blast. I was way after. I'd have been killed, too.
One of those terrible German or Japanese submarines?
Yes, it happened yesterday morning. I've been rowing for land ever since. Then I heard a bellboy. And about an hour later, I landed on the beach, down there.
You've had a terrible time, ain't you?
Could you give me a little food? Let me stay here tonight?
Come in. You've got to be took care of.
Thank you.
I'll have to light up a light.
Shall I bring in the lantern?
No, sir. That lantern stays there lit under all conditions. And it ain't never going out nor being took in. So long as I'm conscious. There. Now you can see.
I'm sorry to trouble you.
Tain't no trouble at all.
May I inquire your name?
Liza Gott. And it's got 2 T's and no E before the L. Liza, not Eliza. What's your name?
Berkman. Frank Berkman.
You look pretty tuckered. Here. Now just lie down here on this sofa and make yourself comfortable.
Oh, I have been through a good deal.
Well, now you stretch right out. You put your head up here. And your feet down there. Now, are you quite sure you're comfortable?
Oh, I never was more comfortable in my life.
Well, that's good. There. Now you can rest in peace.
Who do you want?
Stanley, this is Liza. Get me quick as you can the Counterspy headquarters in Washington. And I want to speak to the head of it, no young stripling.
You gone, Daffy?
Do as I tell you, Fanny. Get me the head of the Counterspies.
Well, I still think you're Daffy, but I'll ring 'em.
Fanny, ain't you got Washington yet?
Yeah, we got Counterspy headquarters, but they're getting the head of it. I said it was a calamity.
Hello. This is Harding speaking.
This is Liza Gott. a Loganberry Point, Maine. I've caught me a spy.
Pardon me. Would you say that again?
I'm Liza Gott, a Loganberry Point, Maine. And I've caught me a spy.
Well, naturally, I'm a little dumbfounded. Where is he?
Well, lying on the sofa over there.
But if he hears you, why doesn't he get up?
What? You ain't see the condition he's in.
Is he unconscious?
Very.
And how do you know he's a spy?
Well, he told me about rowing alone and hearing our bellboy at the Narrows and then rowing an hour and landing on our beach. Well, I was born here, and I know this coast, and there ain't nobody rowing from the bellboy at the reef to this shore on an ebb tide in 1 hour. He's a prevaricator.
What is Loganberry Point near?
Ain't near nothing. The nearest place is Stuyvesant. Well, that ain't near nothing either.
Well, this is very unusual. But I'll leave by plane immediately. Get to Loganberry Point somehow.
Very nice of you, Captain Stinson, to drive me over to Loganberry Point. The plane couldn't seem to find a nearer landing place.
No?
You don't suppose, do you, Captain, that the horse might trot a little?
I'm not much worried about it.
No. I mean, could you make her trot?
No. I put her out to pasture when she was 22. She's been out there 8 years now. I had to call her back into harness when the gas ration went in. She has enough trouble to stand up. To say nothing of trotting.
I see. Do you happen to know Eliza Gott over at Loganberry Point, Captain Stinson?
Yep.
Is she quite a responsible person?
Salt of the earth.
I just thought I'd visit her.
You mean room there?
Yes.
You don't know Eliza.
What do you mean?
You'll find out when you get there.
Come right in, Mr. Hardin.
Thank you, Mrs. Gott. I took a plane as far as Stuyvesant and then had to drive over. Now, where's this man you captured?
In the woodshed.
Woodshed?
That's where he is. No man but my past husband ever spent a night under this roof. And there ain't no man ever going to. Don't you want to put down your suitcase?
Oh, no, thank you. I have some equipment in it.
Oh. No, you'll have to go the rest of the way yourself. He's right in there, laid out on a cord of wood. I ain't going into no woodshed with no 2 men.
All right, Mrs. Gott. I'll go look. Sort of the worse for wear. Come on. Here, come on.
Go away. Go away.
Now, come on, sit up. There, sit up.
Oh, it's you. Are you the man she'd been waiting for?
Yes.
Then get me out of here. I had to pretend I was unconscious, or she'd have killed me.
What do you mean?
After she dragged me out here, she'd come out every hour. And if I was conscious, she'd hit me over the head with that piece of stove wood. Knock me out. Look at my head.
I can't tell how much of it is your head and how much is bumps on top of your head.
She'd hit me over the head, just as cool and systematic as though she were a pile driver.
Let me have your fingers. I want to take your prints.
No.
You'd better, or I might call Mrs. Gott back. Oh, that's better. I'll telephone your prints to Washington, and we'll see who you really are.
G6, Counterspy Headquarters, Washington, reporting to Harding. The fingerprints you just telephoned in are prints of Dr. Sleston, who left San Francisco for Portugal 18 months ago. He was employed in the Stillwell plants while they were experimenting on cargo-carrying air transport. It looks like Dr. Sleston is the one we have been expecting the Gestapo to try and smuggle into the country. Come in.
I'm glad to know it's Slesson that we've got. It's quite obvious Slesson has been sent in to secure all possible information on the newly contemplated cargo-carrying transport. This is a job the Gestapo probably allowed him about a week to complete. And then they must have made arrangements to get him out. I'll check with you later tonight. Well, Berkman, or Slesson, you just heard that conversation. We know who you are and why you're here.
I guess there isn't any sense to my denying. After all the plans, I had to bump into that woman.
You going to talk?
No.
I see. Well, as the people of Loganberry Point would say, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Martha, church bell's ringing. Something's up. Put it on your hat, Martha, the one with the yellow ribbon.
The church bell's ringing, and it ain't go to meeting night. They must be calling it for something special.
You have been called to the church here at the request of Mr. Harding concerning an important matter. I am proud to see every person of Loganberry Point present. Mr. Harding of Washington.
Citizens of Loganberry Point, I know you're all aware of the circumstances of the German spy who landed and was apprehended here.
He means caught.
Yeah.
Now, our government knows why he was sent here. His mission would ordinarily take him a week. It is logical to expect he would be returned to Germany by the same route he arrived. Well, this part of the coast was selected because it's very sparsely populated. The Gestapo evidently believed landing here would be very simple. By all logic, I expect arrangements have been made by the submarine to pick him up at this very place within the week.
Did you ever hear the beat?
All of you men present are lobster fishermen, or go out hand lining and setting trot lines. You know the reefs and shoals like your own backyard. You can weave in and out of them on the blackest nights and in the thickest fogs. I'm calling for volunteers. Every night I want 6 fishermen to pretend that their motors have gone back on them and remain out there in their launches. Now, it's a dangerous undertaking. There's a chance you might be captured and even tortured for information. How many of you men are willing to volunteer? This is a sight I wish every American could see. Some of you are over 80, some in your teens. And not a man in this church who isn't standing.
We are breaking water, Herr Kapitän. Making the surface.
Gut. Machen Sie auf.
It is very foggy and dark, Herr Kapitän. We are among the reefs. I suggest you come on deck.
Aufpassen. Ich komme sofort. Bleiben Sie bei den Motoren.
Get a hold of it. Get the ropes around it.
What's going on? Was ist das?
Throw me that rope, or I will shoot. When we surfaced, we came up right alongside that little fishing boat. There is a fisherman on it.
Good. Bring him aboard. We will question him about these waters.
Take him down to the control room.
He looks like an old man.
Get him below.
Ring him aft. The captain wants him below decks, in the control room.
Blackout ship.
Jawohl, Herr Kapitän.
Charged batteries. Transportbahn will soon be here.
He smells fish all over him. Get down there, you fish!
Well, what are you doing out in your boat? Late at night in the fog.
I was doing me a mess of fishing. My cussed motor broke down.
So? Perhaps it didn't break down. Perhaps you're out here spying.
You think they'd give me an important job like that? An old seaman over 70? See, with a wooden leg.
Yeah, you're right. You are too old. What's your name?
Stinson. Captain Egbert R. Stinson.
So you're a captain. Captain of fish, perhaps.
Well, if you understand, sir, for 50 years I was captain of sailing ships. And I never lost a one.
Yeah? If you are so good, where are we right now?
In the devil of a fog, if that'll help you.
You know what I mean. What's our location? How far off Horseshoe Reef are we?
You're a quarter-mile northeast, sir.
You're lying.
I know it.
So you dare lie. I think we can take care of that. Mate, the hot iron from the galley.
But I will get the wire for his neck.
Well, I never see a room with so many gadgets in it before. We didn't need all these wires on a sailing ship.
How far are we from the lighthouse?
Lighthouse? Oh, let me see. As the crow flies, I think I'd say about 1,000,000 miles.
You talk. You will talk plenty.
All right, I'll talk, you dirty vermin. The sea is clean. It's decent. Not a foul like the likes of you. Before you're through, you and this rotten hook will be at the bottom of the sea, but the fish won't trouble your carcasses. There isn't one foul enough to eat you. Curse you and all your foul things. There and there.
Put on that fire axe, they kill you.
Go ahead, shoot. Instant sea. Keep on shooting. Keep on. I'll have it all minutes before you can kill me.
Er ist wahnsinnig geworden. Vollständig verrückt. Kill him.
What is the matter?
Shoot this crazy fool.
Come near and I'll chop your head off.
Look, idiot. Crazy fool. 6 bullets to stop him. Have the chief engineer and electrician both come to central control at once.
Jawohl, Herr Kapitän. Chief engineer, electrician, report to central control at once. Inspect, repair damage.
Rig for hand control. We see what that maniac has done to our automatic gear.
Herr Kapitän, the master rail started damage. Impossible to say how long it will take to repair. Main periscope eyepiece also is broken.
The depth indicator dial is completely wrecked, Herr Kapitän.
How long will it take to repair?
2 or 3 hours, Herr Kapitän.
The compressed airline is breached. Several hours to repair. Also, main ballast handbells jammed.
Verflucht noch einmal! All this damage with the axe.
Hello?
This is Elmer Greeley reporting from the lighthouse. Is that you, Mr. Hardin?
Yes.
The submarine's out here.
Good. Good. What are the facts?
Well, Rick Googins just landed. His boat was lying about a quarter of a mile from old Captain Stinson's. He heard the sub come up, and they evidently captured Captain Stinson and took him on board.
Go on.
So, Red stuck around a few minutes, and he heard a lot of commotion, and then men trying to get the submarine to go down. But it sounded like it couldn't, like something had happened. So Red paddled his launch far enough away so they couldn't hear his motor, and then got to the lighthouse here.
Fine. I've got all the information I need right now. I want to hang up and then use this phone. Now, let's see. I turn this little crank here.
Yes, ring it long and loud. Sometimes Penny, the operator, lays down and takes naps.
Now, Miss Scott, would you run down the path and ring the church bell? Emergency.
Yes,
If the bell rings late at night, they know that to bring what guns they have and rush for the wharf.
Hello?
Oh, operator, get me that number I wrote out for you yesterday.
Oh, yes, Mr. Harding. Yes, sir.
Please hurry, Mrs. Gott. Have that church bell rung.
Over there said 1 if by land and 2 if by sea.
Naval Control.
This is Harding reporting. Relay to destroyer Smithville. Proceed at once 1 mile southeast of Sand Island Light. German submarine on surface.
Immediately, sir.
Relay to Coast Guard. Carry out Plan 3 if possible and fog does not prevent. Otherwise, Plan 2.
Immediately, sir.
Include in Navy message that because of present emergency, I'm going to try to get armed fishermen to submarine first. So if destroyer reaches submarine, watch for all clear signal, which will indicate presence of Americans on board.
Yes, sir.
Those of you with the slowest motorboat start out first.
Here's Sandy's gun. Come and take it.
I want all of you men to understand that this is an extraordinary situation. You're all volunteering on your own accord.
They all want to go.
Now, the reason we're taking things in our own hands is because it's so foggy the planes can't spot the sun. It's too foggy for the destroyer to come in among these reefs until daybreak. Indications are that something's happened to that submarine, and it can't submerge. Would you say, Captain Lawson, that there was a very heavy swell out there near Horseshoe Ledge?
Plenty heavy. After a 3-day nor'easter, they've got a roll out there that's standing them on their heads.
Well, that means the fire from the submarine will be very inaccurate. Now, when we sight her, you're all to fan out and make a circle around her. When you hear Captain Lawson blow his foghorn twice, head right for her. Start shooting and picking off the men manning the guns. With 30 launches coming at her in all directions and the fog and the heavy roll of the sea, she'll have her hands full. We'll all board her at the same time, from all sides of her.
That's all is starting out.
All right, men, your launches. Good luck.
And remember, your women folks will be standing right here and waiting.
That's her, Captain Lawson. A dark shape, about 2 points to starboard.
Damn scum. Should I blow the foghorn twice?
No. Twice is to attack her. Blow it once, so they'll fan out and approach her from all sides. Now slow the motor. Give the others time to get around her.
I didn't realize how patriotic I'd be till I started thinking of them Burmans setting foot on our shore.
I've never seen a thicker fog.
She spotted us. Shall I head for her?
No, she's only shooting at the sound of our motor.
Who are you? Hands off, or we shoot.
We won't reply. Let him stew.
Who are you?
Get ready, Captain Lawson, to blow your foghorn. 2 blasts.
I ain't had so much fun since Liza's cow fell in the well.
All right. Sound the signal.
Take the wheel, will you, Mr. Harding? Let me do a little gunning.
Go ahead. But the minute we touch her, jump aboard.
Try to land at Loganberry Point, will they? The whole German crew's on deck. Captain Mulligan's alongside.
Get that crew by the aft gun there.
They're falling like 10 pins, Harding.
Just order. Let your own boats go so others can come alongside.
Press right into her, Harding. I want to get out of here.
Watch yourself now. Jump.
Come on, you men. Come on.
You understand, Commander, as we stand here in the control room of your submarine, that you and all your crew are prisoners of the United States.
Tja, das ist zu erwarten. Krieg schon. I am helpless.
And there at your feet an old sea captain with 12 bullet holes. Evidently kicked in the face after he was dead.
He was shoving at our controls with a fire axe. We had to shoot him. We shoot him 6 times before he falls.
Captain Stinson was a neighbor of mine.
What arm of the American forces have we been captured by?
The fishermen of Loganberry Point.
Mr. Hardy! Mr. Hardy! United States destroyer approaching out of the Foster.
How in Sam Hill did a destroyer get in among these shoals on a night like this? That's real navigating for you.
What am I supposed to do now?
You're expected to surrender your submarine and your crew and yourself to the greatest navy in all the world.
neighbors of Loganberry Point return the earthly remains of one who has lived among us for so many years. Captain Stinson, if he had had 1,000 lives, he would have chosen no other way to have given them all. And so, we of Loganberry Point, not mournfully, but with pride in our hearts, say goodbye to a great American who lived as an American and died as one. God bless America, the land of the free.
Counterspy, featuring David Harding, is presented at the same time every Monday evening. We suggest that you tell your friends that you make it a weekly date to gather around the radio at this time, as America's 8th Counterspy works to protect us from the spies of our enemies. Counterspy is a Philip H. Lord production which has originated in New York. This is the Blue Network.
Station WJZ New York, which brings you fun and excitement as you listen to the Sing Badot program at 77 on your dial every Tuesday night at 8:30.
Washington calling Counterspy. Washington calling Counterspy. Washington calling Counterspy.
Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington. Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington.
Philip H. Lord, Counterspy.
The Blue Network is proud to present Philip H. Lord, Counterspy, a dramatization packed with thrills and adventure. The fascinating portrayal of undercover agents working against enemy spies within our borders.
All over this great country tonight is an invisible army of men and women highly trained to protect us from professional enemy spies within our borders. Imagine chief counterspy of them all as David Harding. In Pittsburgh, Henry Hughes
cultured, well-educated, and sophisticated, entered his hotel suite on the 7th floor. Seated before a dressing table in the bedroom was his most attractive wife.
Hello, Laura. Fixing up a little?
You're late, Henry.
Oh, some matters down at the office. Guess I'll send for a drink. Want one?
Already had one.
Oh, having a drink alone, eh? Perhaps you weren't alone.
You swine! You insinuating pig! You come in with a stately way you have it. I know where you've been. At the office, yes, the office, with lipstick all over your collar, night after night. Coming in thinking I don't know. You think I'm a fool?
Stop it, you little hellion.
Hellion! I gave up everything for you. Decent family, money, position, honor. I followed you every place you've gone for 10 years. You sham, you fake traitor!
What's that, Laura?
No, I can't cry. I can't even do that anymore. Oh, why do I love you so?
Now listen, kid. You've been great. Sure, I've been seeing someone else. But you know, it's business. Now, as soon as I get all the information I'm after, we can leave this country. We'll be rich the rest of our lives. Now, I can't tell you the things I'm doing. I'm not allowed to. The Gestapo would kill me. But they've promised that if I make good on this job, it means a big job over there. We'll get out of this country.
But this is my country, Henry. Can't you see what I've been through for years? Loving you. Ready to die for you. But cheating all the time on my country.
Which means more to you? Your country? Or me?
You.
There. That sounds more natural. Well, Laura, I've got to go out for a while tonight. Now, you go to a movie or something. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Where are you going?
I've got to drive over the mountain to Connersville. It's about 90 miles.
You lie. You're lying like you always do. You're going with her. You're letting me down. I can see it in your eyes. Well, you can't. You won't.
Now, wait a minute. Okay, come along. I'll prove it to you.
You mean you want me to go with you?
Yes, I'll prove to you that it's business. We'll have some drinks, drive over, and make a good time of it.
You mean it, Henry?
I'd rather have you with me than anyone else.
Oh, I'm such a fool. But I do love you so.
Here's the bottle, Laura. Have yourself another drink.
Oh, it's so beautiful tonight. Look, Henry, you can see for miles.
Sure. We're about 4,000 feet up. Look how those cliffs drop right down from the side of the road.
What's the matter?
Oh, I thought I'd turn and drive right up to the edge. We can sit for a few minutes and look out at the view.
Henry, the front wheels are right on the edge, both of them.
Of course. See how I can handle a car? I didn't have a drink like you did.
It's exciting.
Have another drink.
All right, but I'm dizzy now.
Yeah. Lean on my shoulder.
Henry, I'm sorry. Oh, Chris.
What's the matter?
It's all right now, but something stuck in my arm like a needle.
Oh, perhaps there was a pin or something in the cushion.
Oh, it felt like a... Henry.
Yes?
What stuck into me? What was it?
Why, how should I know?
You do know. It was you. You've done it. There was a hypodermic needle. You poisoned me. You had...
We're getting too dangerous to have around you and your jealous streak.
Help!
Get your head off. Nobody will ever hear you up here. You're going over the cliff.
They'll get you for this. They'll get you for murder.
Oh, no. The injection was just enough to make you unconscious. When they find your body, it will have bled naturally. An accident. Your stomach full of liquor.
Henry!
No. Emergency brake. Happy journey, my dear. Now to get the front wheels over. Now the back wheels over.
Calling Counterspy Headquarters, Washington.
Harding speaking.
J7, Pittsburgh. I think you should fly here immediately, Mr. Harding.
What's your report?
Very attractive wife of a Henry Hughes. Drove car while intoxicated off mountain cliff. Henry Hughes holds a rather important position in the Pittsburgh Bronze Casting Company, which is now doing war work exclusively.
What's the catch?
She's supposed to have driven off the cliff while intoxicated, but the ignition wasn't turned on. The key was in the lock, turned off.
Quite remarkable. In defense work, huh? Have a complete report ready. I'm flying immediately.
Pittsburgh. Check.
Come in.
Just had a thought. Check on the bookkeeper of the Pittsburgh Bronze Casting Company. Find out everything about him. We'll arrive in about an hour.
Now, these reports, Mr. Harding, they're all on Henry Hughes.
Oh, you did well to get them this quickly.
Notice this, sir.
Very well, help it.
There's a matter of 2 years there. There seems to be no record of Henry Hughes at all during that period.
You take passport files?
Yes, Mr. Harding. If Hughes left the country and re-entered, he did so without leaving any record of it.
Yes. Well, there isn't a thing here that points suspicion anyway to Henry Hughes. What about the bookkeeper of the Bronze Casting Company?
Elmer Bruce, 65, small of stature, light hair, blue eyes. Lives with wife, both regular church attenders. She's a Sunday school teacher. They have a daughter and 2 sons, 1 grandchild. Bruce is very well thought of by his neighbors. He's a great lover of books. Goes to the library at least 4 nights a week.
The library, huh?
Quite a scholarly chap.
I think I'll drop over to the library and see if Bruce happens to be there. Pardon me, were you through with this book?
Oh, yes. I was just browsing through it.
Won't you sit down a moment? I'd like to speak to you.
Why, yes, certainly.
Aren't you Elmer Bruce?
Why, that's the most amazing thing I've ever heard of. I've never seen you before.
Well, this meeting isn't quite as accidental as it might seem, Mr. Bruce. For certain reasons, I didn't want to go to your home. I'd like to have you look at my credentials.
Mercy.
Oh, there's nothing to be nervous about.
Oh, have I done something wrong?
I just wanted to ask you a question, Mr. Bruce. Do you happen to know a man who works for your company by the name of Henry Hughes?
Why, yes. Oh, wasn't that a catastrophe, his wife's death?
Yes, a terrible thing. Mr. Bruce, of course you pay all the employees of the Bronze Casting Company by check.
Oh, yes, 462, counting the 2 janitors and night watchmen. That is the last count was that.
Oh, I see. Yes. Now, Mr. Bruce, tomorrow your accountants are going to call on you. And Mr. Harold Lawrence, the president of your firm.
Oh, yes.
Now, these accountants are going to recommend that you pay the employees from now on in cash instead of by check.
Oh, no.
I want you to fall in with the accountant's plans to pay from now on in cash.
But I couldn't. I'd be untruthful.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Bruce, but these happen to be government orders. A great deal depends upon them.
Well, I'm sorry, too, Mr. Harding. I respect my government, but even for it, I couldn't lie.
Mr. Bruce, it's very refreshing to meet a man of your principles.
I don't wish to be an unreasonable prick. I just want to do what's right.
Well, couldn't you say, under the present-day circumstances, you recommend paying by cash? That you wouldn't have to say what circumstances.
I see. Mm-hmm. Well, that's rather delicately skirting the truth. Well, I might. For my country.
Oh, that's fine. Now, you'll receive from the bank each week some separate bills of different denominations, which we will have the numbers of. Now, you are to put these designated bills in the pay envelope each week of Henry Hughes until notified to the contrary.
Oh, yes.
And you're not to mention to anyone under any circumstances that you have met or talked with me.
Oh, my gracious. That's a big responsibility. I hope I'm a big enough person, Mr. Harding. After all, I've always lived in my very small way, and I'm not a broad or big person.
Well, I know all about you, Mr. Bruce. You're considered a very fine person.
Thank you.
Now I'll have to leave you. I'm going back to Washington.
J7 has just arrived from Pittsburgh that train, Mr. Harding.
Send him right in. Got any news?
Quite a bit, Mr. Harding. Very interesting.
Yeah, let's see. Well, this report covers 2 weeks.
Yes, sir. Henry Hughes has received 2 pay envelopes, each containing $125. All of that money was marked, and the banks were instructed to watch for it and to make careful notes where the different bills were turned in from. Hughes spent about $80 each week.
Let's see. He got paid Saturday.
By Monday noon, the bank had received $20 from the Berkshire Clothing Company, $15 from the Red Moth, well, that's a nightclub, $30 from the hotel where Henry Hughes has his apartment. $5 of the money was received by the bank from a little cigar stand round the corner. Hughes evidently changed the bill there.
Well, let's take Tuesday.
A $10 bill from the gasoline station and garage where Hughes keeps his car.
Let me see that second week's report.
I think I know what you've noticed, Mr. Harding.
Let's see. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Yes, first week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yes, sir. 3 times each week, one of those marked bills was returned to the bank. from the Revelero Moving Picture House.
How often does this Revelero Moving Picture House change its featured pictures?
Twice a week, sir.
Mm-hmm. And yet Henry Hughes, shortly after his wife's death, over which he grieved greatly, goes to a certain movie house 3 times each week. Although they change the feature picture only twice a week.
Yes, Mr. Harding.
See that J4 goes to Pittsburgh immediately. Gets a job as usherette in the Revelero Moving Picture House. And have her contact me for further instructions.
Yes, sir.
Well, this case is beginning to look pretty big, George. I have a feeling that we're going into action.
We'll continue tonight's case of Counterspy in just a moment. But first, here is a message of vital importance to women and girls who want to take an active part in the war effort. Your country needs you and needs you now as a student nurse. The need is so great that 19,000 student nurses will have to enter mid-year classes in January and February. Will you be one of them? You won't attack the enemy, but you'll fight. You'll fight pain. You'll fight casualties. Even as a student, you'll release some experienced nurse to help our fighting men on the fields of battle. Here is a direct call from your country. To answer it, women and girls between 18 and 35 who are citizens and high school graduates in good health should write to Student Nurse, Box 88, New York City. That's Box 88, New York City. And they will give you full information. now back to Phillips H. Lord's Counterspy.
J4 reporting to Harding from Pittsburgh. J4 reporting from Pittsburgh.
Harding speaking. Proceed.
The man in question entered theater at 4:10, went down center aisle to row D, asked girl to remove coat from a seat, and sat down next to her. After a while spoke to her, and from then on they carried on conversation. This happened Monday and Wednesday. The same girl each time.
Who was the girl?
Phyllis Lawrence, daughter of the president of the Bronze Casting Company.
What?
Yes, sir.
Oh. I'll contact you later.
Yes, Mr. Harding.
I'm leaving for Pittsburgh immediately. Tell J7 I'm going to call on Mr. Lawrence, president of the Bronze Casting Company. Now, pardon me, Mr. Harold Lawrence at home?
He is, sir.
Card.
Yeah, ask who's calling.
You kindly take in my card, if you please.
Step in, sir.
Thank you.
If you'll wait, sir, I'll take your card to Mr. Lawrence.
Certainly.
To see you immediately, Mr. Harding. He's in the living room. May I have your hat and coat, sir?
I think I'll take it with me.
May I take your package for you, sir?
No, I'd like to keep that with me, too.
Right this way, sir.
Come in, Mr. Harding. Delighted to meet you, sir. I'm very glad to meet you, Mr. Lawrence.
Sit down. Sit down. William should have taken your things.
I'm just stopping for a moment. Mr. Lawrence, you have a daughter.
Why, yes, Phyllis.
Well, it's a little difficult for me to broach the subject, Mr. Lawrence. But
what is it, Mr. Harding? Speak up, man.
Look, are you aware, Mr. Lawrence, that your daughter is quite interested in a certain gentleman?
Why, no. Phyllis has many gentlemen friends. I don't think she's partial to anyone especially.
Well, I'm afraid, Mr. Lawrence, that I must tell you that she is.
Just a moment, Mr. Harding. I respect you and your position, but whether my daughter is partial to any young man or not is none of your business.
Well, I don't blame you for saying that, Mr. Lawrence. And believe me, I'd never be here if it were not for a very serious purpose.
What is it?
Well, the young man that your daughter happens to be interested in is in the employ of our enemies, Germany.
Now, let me get this straight. My daughter, you mean Phyllis?
Yes.
She's interested in a man who's a German spy?
I'm afraid so.
No, you're wrong. Who is he?
A man employed by you. Henry Hughes.
Oh, no, Harding. Hughes' wife, Phyllis, doesn't even know him. Besides, his wife was just killed. Why, Hughes is a fine man.
I'm sorry, Mr. Lawrence, but Henry Hughes is a member of the German Gestapo.
He's lying. It isn't so. Don't you believe him, Father?
Phyllis, have you been listening?
Yes, and Henry isn't a spy. He's a patriotic American, just as patriotic as you are. What?
Henry? Henry who, Phyllis?
Henry Hughes, if you've got to know. I've loved him for months, but I wouldn't see him. Then when his wife was killed, I didn't see why I shouldn't see him. He's honest, he's decent, and I'm not ashamed. I love him.
Phyllis, do you know what you're saying? I can't believe...
Mr. Lawrence, I'll leave. I think this is between you and your daughter.
Father, this man has tried to poison your mind. Henry's fine, and you know it. He's my sweetheart.
I'll call you shortly on the phone, Mr. Lawrence. Goodbye.
Phyllis, I want the truth. How long have you been seeing this man, Hughes? How do you know he isn't what Mr. Harding said he is? How do you know?
I do know, and he loves me. Ask him. He didn't love his wife anyway. He told me. Ask him.
I'll ask him nothing. You've been meeting him behind my back. You've been lying to me about where you were going. You haven't told me a thing about
it. Why should I? Is it a sin to love a man?
It's a sin to love an enemy. That man Harding must know what he's talking about.
I tell you, it's lies, a pack of lies. I'll prove it, they're lies.
I can see under the shade. Harding's driving off in his car.
Henry, that fool, that stupid ass.
I'd like to have my hands on him.
He's killing his wife that's led up to this. I told him not to.
But he was afraid of her. She got so jealous. We've got to get out, Phyllis. Things have gotten too hot.
No, it isn't all up yet. Henry's driven over the mountains tonight. The Counterspies evidently haven't arrested him yet, and we can see that he doesn't talk. On his way back here, he's found with a bullet.
Yes.
Let's get the car. We'll drive and meet him.
Do you think Harding was suspicious of us?
Not. Harding thinks you're a respectable businessman, and I'm your innocent daughter led astray. He aimed to warn us. We're safe if we can do away with Henry before he talks.
What's that?
What?
That package by the chair. Right there.
Oh, that's where Harding was sitting. Must have been in such a hurry he forgot it.
Wait a minute.
It's a short-wave set. Oh, quick. Harding left that there to trick us. He's heard everything we've said.
Quick. The car in the garage. Don't stop for a thing. Come on.
You drive. It's time that it's cold.
Shut up. I'm starting this.
I'm afraid it won't go.
Why?
Yes, the distributor cap is missing, and I wouldn't move either one of you. Two of my agents are in the back and have you covered.
Very clever.
And the next time you go to a theater to meet a man, Phyllis, if you ever do, be sure and look around and see who's sitting in the seat behind you.
What my daughter has done has no bearing on me. Why am I arrested?
Oh, come, Mr. Lawrence. You've been operating this factory on money supplied by Berlin. You make parts for airplane motors so that your firm is close to many manufacturers and you have access to their plans. And besides, she's not your daughter. She's Fräulein Groch.
Henry's responsible. The fool, he ought to be shot.
That's just what he did. Killed himself when my men went to arrest him.
Henry?
Yes. Henry. Your father.
We'll be back in just a moment to tell you about next week's exciting Counterspy case. But in the meantime... We wish to call your attention to the government's urgent appeal for the conservation of gas for cooking and heating. Gas must be conserved for the following reasons. It is used for fuel by many industrial plants, which are now expanded to double or triple their normal peacetime size. And it is used widely in the manufacture of armor plate, gun barrels, and similar equipment, which must be hardened or molded at extremely high temperatures. Because its flame is freer from impurities than the flame from coal or oil, gas is used almost exclusively in these processes. And gas is in itself a raw material for certain products. Synthetic rubber, for example, and ammonium nitrate, which is used in the manufacture of explosives. That is the why, and now here's the how, of gas conservation. Don't use the kitchen range to heat the house. If you heat with gas, keep your house below 65 degrees. Cook with a low blue flame. Use hot water sparingly. Those are directions direct from Uncle Sam. Now, they may not sound as intriguing as an assignment to track down and capture enemy spies, but the conservation of gas, practiced by millions of soldier citizens on the home front, will be echoed in cheers of victory from our fighting men, because the conservation of gas will help give them equipment and weapons they need. Next week, David Harding in Counterspy will be back with you again at this same time for The Case of the Trail Count, the society woman who talked too much, the highball glass served by waiter 37, the man at the zoo, the long underwear at the railroad station, and the ultra-polite third degree. That's next week's unusual Counterspy. 11 days till Christmas. Give the present with a future. The greatest gift of all, a share in America. Give war bonds and
Fresh, the new cream deodorant, presents David Harding, Counterspy. Washington, calling David Harding, Counterspy. Washington, calling David Harding, Counterspy.
Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington.
David Harding Counterspy is brought to you by Fresh. Fresh, the new cream deodorant that stops perspiration worries safely. Switch to Fresh to be sure. 2 weeks ago, Charles Pierce, a man in his early 30s, immaculately dressed, slight, with piercing eyes, stood in the hallway of a large gray stone apartment building in Baltimore. With him was a young woman, Dora Lester.
I do not feel this is good, Charles.
It's the biggest opportunity we ever had, Dora.
You have never met this man.
Oh, I know all about him, though. He was in command.
They're very strange in my stomach. A woman's intuition.
That's enough. We're paid well to take chances.
You do not think this is a trick? You have your gun?
Always. But I won't need it, Dora. It's a great honor to meet him. His espionage work is known all over the world. For 2 years, he was in command of all Gestapo agents in Spain. Yes? Mr. Burley? Yes? We received your message to come here. When? Day before yesterday. We were in Boston. Come in. Come over to the table. Just sit down, please. Now, you will establish your identity. Now, this is my lady friend, Dora Lester. She worked with me under Hans. Just a moment. Remove your hat, Dora.
Why, yes.
Oh? This picture's a very good likeness of you.
You've got a picture of me? When was it taken?
The important part is that it was taken for identification. So you used the name Charles Pierce. You wish some identification, Mr. Burley? Unnecessary. I was standing unobserved right at the desk of the hotel when you signed in last night. Wanted to see your handwriting. Well, no wonder, Mr. Burley, you're famous for your precautions. From now on, you two will take orders from me. Come along.
May I ask where we are going?
To the 8th floor balcony of a certain building. You'll be very surprised at what you see.
A person could very easily fall to his death from this balcony. Couldn't he, Mr. Burley?
Very easily, Dora. Now, Charles, see that long, low building over there? The one fenced in with the barbed wire? Yeah. That building is the United States Government Laboratory. It covers these 2 acres. And the guards who are patrolling there? Just a moment, till I close the fire door. There are 12 guards there, night and day. There's a beam of an electric eye which goes all around the building. Automatic protective devices of every description. So they protect and gold something even more valuable. Bugs.
Bugs?
You're fooling. No. There are bugs in there worth as much as $5,000 each.
I hate bugs.
I couldn't hate any bug worth $5,000.
What is the mystery of them, Mr. Burley?
One of the greatest allies of the Japanese, disease caused by jungle bugs. Disease Americans have never experienced. Now, the United States government has had hundreds of specialists capturing these odd bugs in the Pacific. Oh. These bugs are brought to this country and placed in that building. Each species, specially heated rooms, tropical conditions, their own special food. And they're bred there. Millions of them. You mean they keep all of the bugs there so the United States can experiment on them to develop poison sprays to kill each different kind? Exactly. New poisonous sprays could not be developed to kill these bugs if there were not thousands of those different species to experiment on. The breeding of some of these bugs is a very complicated process. For instance, Mr. Burley, the United States Marines land on an island. Yes, and possibly in 24 hours, a certain percentage of the Marine invaders will be suffering from sickness.
caused by some kind of a bite from these little-known bugs. Each island, each jungle has hundreds of different kinds.
But suppose the Marines do know about the bugs before they land. What can they do about it?
If a certain poisonous spray has been developed, effective against the type of bugs they know they will encounter, American planes fly over the island with thousands of gallons of the spray. Spray the jungles, many of the bugs will be destroyed.
No wonder those bugs in that laboratory are valuable.
But the way that laboratory is guarded, it would be impossible to get near it or destroy the bugs.
Impossible for anyone but me. See that building just at the end of the laboratory?
Yeah.
That is a scientific library. And it is open to medical students who wish to do research there on insecticide.
Is it guarded?
Certainly. The guard at the door. He searches everyone when they enter or leave. The guard's name is Connors.
Connors.
In the evening when he's off duty, Connors often drinks beer down the street over at the restaurant with a sign.
Yeah.
You're to meet him. Find out what his hobbies are. What he eats. What he likes. Then report to me that telephone. Hello?
Mr. Burley?
Yes?
That gentleman you asked me to meet.
Yes?
I've become quite friendly with him. His hobby is, dogs.
Dogs?
Yes. He talks about them by the hour.
Very interesting.
What shall I do?
Come to my apartment at 11 tonight. And we visit the scientific library again tomorrow. I will have had something planned.
Hello, Connors.
Hi, Charlie. Well, of all the times you've come to the library here, you didn't tell me you owned a dog.
How do you like him?
Come here, boy. Come here. Hey, that's a peach of a dog. Belgian Shepherd.
Yeah.
Boy, let's see your mouth.
You liking dogs so much, Connors, you sold me the idea. So I bought this one.
About 2 years old, huh?
Uh-huh.
Now you got something.
Yeah, and he's highly trained. I don't want to lose out on my reading at the library here, so can't I take him in with me and tie him to the leg of a chair?
Well, I don't know if I should let you, but... yeah, that dog's almost human, ain't he?
How about it?
Okay, take him in with you. Hey, Charlie. Wait a minute.
Yeah?
I got a set you, you know.
You still have to after knowing me so well?
This library section's right next to the scientific laboratory, you know. I wouldn't let my own mother in without searching her.
Okay.
Arms up.
Yeah.
Turn around. Okay.
You're sure a thorough guide, Connors.
I got 2 kids in the Pacific. You bet I'm thorough. Okay, Charlie. If you keep them quiet, you can take them in.
You know, Dora, this dog doesn't like Mr. Burley's apartment here.
I can see from the way he looks, Charlie.
Now, Charles.
Yes, sir?
For 3 weeks now, you've been taking this dog into the library next to the laboratory. You sure the guard likes the dog?
Connors? Crazy about him.
That ammo potassium I gave to the dog.
Really made him look good and sick.
Oh, yeah. His nose was hot and dry, his eyes glassy.
Hmm? And you did not bring the dog's apparent sickness to the attention of Connors.
Oh, no. I was just going into the scientific library with the dog when he looked at him and he said,
Your dog's sick, Charlie. Give him sulfathiazole. And if I was you, I'd put a blanket on him for a couple of days. Keep him bundled up. Perfect. So the guard himself suggested the blanket. Sure did. Wonderful. Easy, boy, easy. Come here. It's our big moment, Charlie. The climax. Now, this center line. Center line? What's that? It's an explosive more powerful than TNT. Explosive? That's right. And a little time watch. That'll set it off. You will throw the explosive and the time watch right into the underside of the dog's blanket. Well, you'll walk into the library with a sick dog that the guard Connors has got a weakness for. He'll search you. And with his type of mind, you'll never think to feel under the dog's heavy blanket. Because he himself suggested the blanket. Yeah. But what about me? You'll tie the dog to a leg of a chair in the library. The time watch will set the charge off at exactly 11. At 5 minutes of 11, make an excuse. Walk out. Disappear. A dream, this what you say. I'll blow the library and the laboratory with all its expensive bugs off the face of the earth. It'll take them years to collect and breed new ones.
It seems like the dog knows what's going on.
Tomorrow morning, Charles. Take the dog in a taxi cab. Drive right to the laboratory. We'll have enough explosives wrapped around him to blow a city to kingdom come.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we come to that part of our program known as Be Fresh or Be Fired. Yes, the Be Fresh or Be Fired department. Maybe you might want to call it the Be Fresh or Be Lonely department. Well, anyhow, it's a quiz corner where a fresh answer is always welcome. First question.
Why do you refer to 4 o'clock in the working day as the time when you're apt to come up against the deodorant deadline?
And the answer?
Because when you're working, an embarrassing deodorant failure is more likely to happen toward the day's end. When you're out on the date at night, 10 o'clock is another sort of 0 hour. But why be worried? Switch to that new cream deodorant Fresh, to be sure.
Second, a man's question. Is using Fresh a sissy thing to do?
And the answer?
Well, Fresh is a big seller among GIs and post exchanges all around the world.
That's plenty answer.
Which brings us to a question frequently asked.
I get conflicting advice from people I know on how to be sure of personal daintiness. I'm confused.
Well, friends, as many famous beauty editors and authorities on good grooming can tell you, modern science has the answer, and Fresh brings it to you. In Fresh, you get the benefit of the most effective perspiration-stopping ingredient known to science. Fresh contains an exclusive ingredient. Fresh cream deodorant stops perspiration worries completely and safely. It's safe for you and for your clothing. It's creamy and smooth, not sticky, doesn't dry out, and it's never gritty. So it's a pleasure to switch to Fresh, to be sure. Now back to David Harding, Counterspy.
Driver, pull up right in front of the scientific library. Right next to the laboratories, then.
Okay, buddy. What's the matter with your dog? Got the fits?
Not feeling good.
I was wondering why you had a blanket on him in this hot weather. 55, mister.
Let me get my dog out first. Come on, boy. Get out.
Get out. He seems to like staying in my cab, huh?
Get out. Come on.
Hey, I guess he sees the big dog the woman's got over there.
Got change for $1?
Oh, sure. I guess the big police dog over there don't like your dog.
Stop it. Hey, there. That woman's having trouble holding her dog. Hey, hold on to your dog. Don't bring him over here.
He's stronger than I am.
There's gonna be some action. Hey, hold on to that dog. Boy, come here. You're too late, mister. Now, you gotta hold that dog.
You don't away.
Come on, boy. Come here. He's lost him.
Experimental laboratories. There has been a big explosion on sidewalk, blowing taxicab and 2 or more persons to pieces. Emergency.
Harding speaking. All roving Washington Counterspy investigators leave for Baltimore immediately. Emergency. Explosion in front of government laboratories.
Everett, I want you to leave for Baltimore with me at once. This is the craziest case I ever heard of, Mr. Harding. Why would anybody want to blow up the street in front of the government experimental laboratory? You think it was an attempt to blow up the laboratory and it went wrong? Definitely. The guard in the research laboratory saw it happen. And the explosion resulted from a dogfight.
A dogfight?
The most fantastic thing. We're up against a very unusual mind, Everett.
Anything left from the explosion to examine?
Nothing. The man who had one of the dogs, the woman who had the other dog, the taxicab driver, all were blown to bits. It was a terrific explosion. As soon as we reach Baltimore, we'll set up a thorough investigation. Baltimore Field Office, Harding speaking.
We located the kennels, Mr. Harding, where the dog was bought. The man came in and bought the dog without leaving his name or address.
What do our agents report from the scene of the explosion?
Another thing. It must have been a terrific explosion.
What about the man who drove the taxi?
He's a discharged veteran, a good American.
Oh? Well, Everett, this is one of the most uniquely conceived plots.
There just isn't any starting point.
Let me think a minute. We've got to find the starting point. These agents will make another attempt to destroy that laboratory.
What are your orders, sir?
Enemy agents had a dog. They now don't have a dog.
We could start a house-to-house canvass.
Well, it'll take us months. Come back to the field office, Everett. I've got an idea. We'll work out of here.
I'm feeling very nervous, Mr. Burley. Can't we leave this apartment and go someplace?
What time is it, Dora?
Almost midnight.
All right. We'll go out to eat.
Seems funny not having Charlie around.
Don't mention that fool. He bungled my whole plan.
Has the newspaper said anything about the explosion?
Just one little item. The government must have clamped down and censored it.
You're going to try some other way to destroy the laboratory?
Of course. But this time I'll do it myself. You're rather pretty, Dora.
I like you, too. Who's that? You don't suppose Charlie really wasn't killed?
Oh, strange this time of night.
I'm frightened.
Stop it. I didn't leave one possible clue. Yes?
Are you Mr. Burley who lives here?
Yes.
I'm David Harding of the United States Counterspy. This is one of my agents, Mr. Everett.
May we come in, Mr. Burley?
Why, yes, come in. This is Miss Dora Lester, a friend of mine.
How do you do, Miss Lester? This is Mr. Everett.
How do you do?
Miss Lester?
May I ask why you're called, Mr. Harding?
Well, 3 days ago, Mr. Burley, there was a dog which caused an explosion in front of the Baltimore Scientific Laboratories.
Why, that's strange.
Yes, very strange, Mr. Burley.
In fact, peculiar. These are government orders. Neither one of you is to move.
Just a minute. No minute at all. I'm frisking you. No gun. Ever check, Miss Lester?
No gun either.
Mr. Harding, your attitude is uncalled for.
Mr. Burley, my men have been covering Baltimore. Restaurants, meat markets, pet shops, formulas, everything. Well, we found a restaurant right across the street where a man had been buying food for a dog every day. He hasn't bought any such food for the last 3 days.
I suppose you're referring to me.
Yes.
Well, what am I supposed to say?
You're supposed to do some pretty tall explaining. Where is your dog, Mr. Burley?
He, died.
Oh?
He didn't die by being blown to bits, did he, Mr. Burley?
No. My dog died a natural death.
I see. Well, when a dog does die a natural death, of course, there's always the body. Isn't it?
Why, yes.
Where is your dog's body, Mr. Burley?
Well, I was very attached to him. I took him and buried him in the country.
Suppose you show us where.
At this time of night?
Yes.
All right.
Must I drive out, too?
I'm afraid, Miss Lester, you must.
David Harding will be back in a moment. But meanwhile, what do you think is the best advice to give to a young lady who says,
You know, when my lipstick has gone back on me, or when it's worn off, or maybe kissed off, my little mirror is a good friend. It always warns me. But when my deodorant has gone back on me, nothing or no one will warn me. What's a girl to do?
Well, friends, as many famous beauty editors and experts on good grooming and personal charm can tell you, modern science has the answer, and Fresh brings it to you. Yes, Fresh contains the most effective perspiration-stopping ingredient known. Fresh contains an exclusive ingredient. Fresh stops perspiration worries completely and safely. Ladies and gentlemen, each and every one of you, someday, sometime, may reach your deodorant deadline. The deodorant you are using may suddenly stop working. Why take chances? For lasting perfection, switch to Fresh. To be sure, that's
Fresh. Fresh.
Now, back to David Harding, Counterspy.
Would you like me to help your ravens into digging, Mr. Harding?
They're doing all right, thank you, Mr. Burley. I'll just switch the beam of the searchlight, Everett.
I feel like I'm going to faint.
Keep so dark. You evidently don't believe me about burying my dog here, Mr. Harding.
I'm afraid I don't, Mr. Burley.
Look, Mr. Harding. There is something down there.
What? Everett, dig a little more right there.
Right. Can you beat that? What do you think, Chief?
Let me focus the flashlight. Mr. Burley, I apologize.
Well, let's forget it.
I thought your whole story of burying your dog here was preposterous.
Well, I've had a dog for quite a while. 3 days ago, he got taken with cramp. Died before I could get a doctor. I felt so badly, I brought him here and buried him in this field.
Miss Lester, we owe you an apology also.
I'm so nervous and upset, frightened me so that where you came into the apartment.
We do make mistakes sometimes, and this is one. Well, we'll just have to start from the beginning again. Look for another clue. I'll arrange immediately, Mr. Burley, for one of my agents to drive you and Miss Lester back to your apartment.
Seems so good to be back in the apartment again. The poor driver running out of gas.
All over being upset from your experience tonight, Dora?
Yes, Mr. Burley, I guess so.
Everyone makes mistakes, you know. Even Mr. Harding. He'd be a very charming man.
I don't see how you ever found in that darkness where you buried that dog.
Oh, that was simple.
That was a dirty trick you pulled on me, Burley.
I'm not in the habit of telling everyone everything.
You could have told me that you killed another dog and buried him out there. How do you think I felt all that time when you were claiming you did? And I was thinking as soon as you got out there wouldn't be any dog's grave and we'd be caught.
You might as well learn to trust my judgment. Now go into your room and get cleaned up. We'll go out to a restaurant and get something to eat.
Charles used to tell me everything he was doing.
And Charles spoiled my whole plan and got himself blown to pieces.
Just the same, we had fun together and we...
Get your hands up, both of you.
What's the meaning of this?
Put your hands out. These cuffs are going on you.
Wait a minute. I can explain.
You've already done your explaining, Burley. I hoped you wouldn't suspect anything when my agent pretended to run out of gas while bringing you two back to the apartment. It gave me time to go to the police station and see if anyone during the past 3 days had lost a black shepherd dog with a tooth missing from the lower right jaw.
What does that prove?
It proves that when your other dog was blown to pieces, you didn't dare go to the kennels and buy another. So you looked until you could steal one. You killed him and buried him out there just in case there was some slip and you were approached.
Will I be put in prison if I tell everything I know?
Shut up, you fool.
What I'd like to do to you, Burley, is throw you to a whole kennel of dogs. They give you what you deserve. But instead, you're going to go to the electric chair.
And a lot of men will be coming home from the Pacific who wouldn't be if your fiendish plan had worked.
Burley, consider yourself under arrest by the United States government for espionage and murder.
Now, here is Mr. Harding to tell you about next week's case.
I have before me a report of a German minesweeper which had just sailed into an Atlantic port and given itself up. I have here a report of a suspect living at an expensive, exclusive summer hotel overlooking that same port. This girl has recently fallen in love. And here's a report of a body just found in the same harbor. All these things don't happen like that unless they're carefully planned. This case is an emergency. We're leaving to investigate it immediately.
Here's a startling, exciting account of this case. Wednesday, August 1st, same time, same station. David Harding, Counterspy. David Harding Counterspy is brought to you by Fresh. Fresh, the new cream deodorant that stops perspiration very safely. Switch to Fresh to be sure. David Harding Counterspy is a Phillips H. Lloyd production for Fresh, the new cream deodorant.
This is the American Broadcasting Company.
For Fresh, the new cream deodorant.
This is the American Broadcasting Company.